Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. This is not the right account. Welcome into another live stream. Yeah, I did see the Spider-Man movie yesterday. It was very crowded. Yeah, I don't really watch the Avengers, honestly. With the comic books and things like that, I like Batman, I like Spider-Man, I don't like Superman. I don't really watch the Avengers. I don't really watch anything else other than Batman and Spider-Man. You went to see Toy Story 5 with your daughter, and the movies were packed for Spider-Man. Yeah, there's a movie craze, there's a theater craze. People want to go to the theaters, there's a buzz. And it's partially because of Obsession and The Odyssey and things like that. The Odyssey was obviously still being shown. But yeah, there was a lot of Spider-Man paraphernalia. Was it S? No, I thought Spider-Man Brand New Day, I would rate it about a 3.5 out of 5 star, honestly. The way I do ratings is like if it's a 3 out of 5, if it's a 3 out of 5, that's average, or that at least met expectations. 3.5 is like slightly above. So I think it was slightly above. It kept my inner. I still like the one with Michael Keaton. I think it's called Homecoming. I think Homecoming is better. This, I believe, was Tom Holland's maybe third movie. And listen, if you watch the movie, spoiler alert, it looks like he's probably going to do a fourth because they didn't really have. There's no end cap. There's nothing. So they're really getting their money's worth with him. And at some point, he's just going to be too old. And I thought this was his final movie, but I don't know, with the way the storyline looks, maybe not. This is Tom Holland's fourth movie. Yeah, maybe it actually is his fourth, because this is the thing with Spider-Man. I saw his first two, then I didn't see the third one, and I just obviously saw the fourth one. I mean, how many more movies can he do before it's like he outgrows the character? Have you seen The Odyssey? No, I haven't seen The Odyssey. My brother saw it. He said it was good. I don't know. It's a big commitment. I mean, this movie was 2.5 hours, or 2 hours 25 minutes. This new Spider-Man movie. There were a few moments like when Tom Holland was fighting these like Chinese ninjas or something. It was dragging on. It was like, come on, this scene is 2 minutes too long. If you actually watch the movie, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. Then they used an anti-hero, and that's a little frustrating at points because you don't know if you should root for him or not. But I mean, there's a lot of twists in it. It keeps your entertainment. It's a typical Spider-Man movie. It's a typical Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home, and then Brand New Day. Yeah, so the one I didn't watch was No Way Home. I saw Homecoming and Far From Home. I think Homecoming was my favorite, if I remember correctly. Yeah, because there's the one with Michael Keaton and then the one with Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah, the one with Jake Gyllenhaal I didn't think was very good. Mysterio. That was definitely worse than this one. I don't know. When are you getting a new car? Probably not anytime soon, unfortunately. It just doesn't make sense to dump 20 or 30,000 or maybe even more, or get a monthly payment slapped at around $800 a month. I don't really want to deal with that right now. I just don't want to deal with the payment, honestly. Even if I have the money, I'd rather invest it, like I said. I'm not a fan of my car, but I don't even care, really. I mean, if I get rich, I guess I'll get a nice car, like an NPC, but I don't really care about it. I'd probably just get a Cadillac CT5, I think is what it is. No Way Home was really the hype because it had other Spider-Man. Yeah, that's the one I didn't see with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. That's the exact one I never saw. I don't know why I didn't see that one. It's kind of weird. It's like some movies, I didn't see the new Batman. Well, it's not new anymore. The one that came out in 2021. I do think it's kind of frustrating with the Batman because, like, well, you're talking about the Batman or the Dark Knight Rises, the Dark Knight, the Batman Begins from way back when. It's like they name them all the Batman. Or which one are you talking about? The Robert Pattinson one. I never seen that one. I thought the new Spider-Man was pretty good. It basically just meets my expectations every time. It's just entertainment. This one was a little bit longer, I'll say that, but Democrats are saying AOC is their main nominee for 2028. Yeah, that would be good for Republicans. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to run AOC. I don't think they're going to run Kamala Harris. I think it's all bullshit. I mean, what does it even matter now? They say these rumors, it's all irrelevant. They haven't even had a single debate. So, like, they can have these rumors and say all this stuff. It's really all meaningless. It really is. Even these polls and these state polls are meaningless. Toby Maguire. Yeah, a lot of people like Toby Maguire. He was the OG, so it's understandable. Gavin, I guess Gavin Newsom will probably be in I don't know, man. Gavin Newsom maybe peaked too early, but he still might have a chance. Again, it's really early. It's But the Democrats, this is like 2020 again. They got all these people. So it'll probably be one of their establishment picks. That would be my guess. Although this establishment is kind of losing power to this socialist movement. Maybe that's something that really should be taken seriously when it comes to like the potential Democratic primaries. But I don't know if that's just maybe a local thing dependent on the race. But it's like DSA candidates and the establishment does not like this. They actively fund obviously the establishment candidates, but yeah, there's some DSA candidates that are possibly going to allow for Republicans to retain some seats or take some seats. Yeah, Andrew, well, he was a bit old for it. He only had two movies, though. I saw those films in theaters when I was younger. The Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, I like Andrew Garfield as an actor. I saw a trailer for one of his movies. It's like a medieval movie, I think. It showed before the Spider-Man movie. It was kind of funny. The trailers were really bad. That's a PG-13 film. Normally, all the movies I go to is RR, and a lot of the time the trailers suck. But this time it was like really bad because they can't. I don't think they can show R-rated trailers in a PG-13 movie. That's the reason why I think Avengers Doomsday. They showed that trailer as well. They showed that trailer right at the beginning. There were a bunch of people. They literally put up on the screen at the end of the trailer countdown 4 months, 28 days or some shit. I think it's coming out right around Christmas. And then some dude in the theater is like, we all need to meet here in 4 months, 28 days. Because that was the countdown to when it, I guess, is opening night for Avengers Doomsday. You haven't seen Hacksaw Ridge? It's a good war movie, Hacksaw Ridge, yeah. I've seen it a few times. Not in theaters though. But I've been seeing Trump's been tweeting out a bunch of just random boomer AI slop. He'll just randomly tweet just weird shit. And it's like, this is just like an old boomer, but he's the president and he just doesn't care. It's hilarious, but it's just interesting to see. What do you think of Mel Gibson's new Jesus movie coming up? I don't know. I haven't seen a trailer for it. His tweets are hysterical. He just they're not even. It's just photos of like AI shit, and then it's like this AI video of him with an alien, and then you just hear like the audio is steps walking. I don't really. I mean, obviously he's a boomer, but it's like, what is the purpose of tweeting this on your official account? Imagine if he actually tweeted it on Twitter or X. If he tweeted it on X, man, that would be hilarious. He's actually done it a few times, but most of all this boomer slop, it happens on Truth Social. Trump 2028, it will happen. Oh, you're back. Yeah. Well, he did post a photo of Trump 2028 today. He's crashing out on Truth Social. What is the administration at Camp David this weekend?
This is a priority not only for the president, but for myself as well. So, today a grand jury has returned a felony indictment against a defendant, David Hearn, for felony destruction of property, for which he faces 10 years in prison. The indictment is in response to an incident that occurred on June 19th of 2026, in which the defendant Hearn ripped a piece of recently installed sealant on the bottom of the reflecting pool at the Lincoln Memorial. The evidence shows, and we will prove beyond a reasonable doubt, that Hearn willfully destroyed property at the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. This was a deliberate act to damage the reflecting pool at the National Mall that members of the National Park Service actually have worked hard to restore and have witnessed. By Hearn's own admission, on June 19th, he reached down into the pool. Our evidence further shows that the National Park Service employees observed Hearn actually forcefully and violently pulling up and removing the bottom liner with both hands. According to witnesses, Hearn damaged approximately 2 square feet of sealant from the bottom of the pool. A Parks employee actually told Hearn to stop his behavior and stop what he was doing. Hearn reacted by shouting at that Parks employee, saying that she cared too much about the reflecting pool, and why did she even care, since it wasn't her pool. Now, Mr. Hearn's behavior was characterized by witnesses as belligerent, rude, and disrespectful, according to National Park Service employees that witnessed the event.
I don't know why they're so, liberals became obsessed with the reflecting pool. It's just such a pathetic. They're literally trying to just do a renovation to a reflection pool. It's $13 million. Whoop-de-doo. I don't understand why they have to be so argumentative about everything. No, I thought the new Spider-Man movie was pretty good. I give it a 3.5 star out of 5. I mean, I just think it's a renovation. I don't really see. Listen, the problem with the reflecting pool, if you actually want to renovate it right, you probably got to completely replace the entire thing, unfortunately. It's such a big, shallow body of water. And I would replace the damn thing. It would cost a lot of money, but it's such an important centerpiece of DC that replacing it and giving it a new modern because when they repaired it in 2010, they didn't actually give it a modern filtration system. I think the entire thing has to be replaced, but Trump wanted to, I guess, fix it faster and for cheaper. Listen, you can't go around ripping stuff just because you don't like Trump. It's just not. You just leave us alone. It's just always something with these people. They have everything is about Trump, and it's just nauseating. Reflecting pools should be tiled with crystal clear water, not painted in dark water. Well, no, the idea is you want it to be darker so it reflects better. And that has proven to be the proper, if it's darker, it's potentially will reflect better. It also makes the water a little bit hotter, which could be problematic for algae, but problem is a swamp, even with filtration, birds will contaminate it. Yeah, but if you modernized it, it would be a lot less. It would be a lot less of a problem, even if though it's a massive body of water. Like if for a reflection pool of standards, where it's not stagnant because it does filter in and out. But if you modernized it, you could really. But I mean, what would that cost? $100 million or something? It does any people are going to be pissed off. You really can't pay for actual renovations or monuments now. People lose their minds. This was a $13 million renovation. People lost their minds. $13 million. Think about the amount of money we spend on literally anything else. I mean, it's a yearly budget of 7 trillion. What are the chances the left finds their own version of Donald Trump and makes the right look like snowflakes? I mean, they might find I guess, a variation of Trump, like an outsider, I guess. I don't know. I don't think their party's going to be overtaken by socialism, or at least the DSA. They just don't have enough sway within the Democratic Party right now to do it. DeSantis 2028. I mean, if Vance doesn't want to run, I don't see why it would be DeSantis over Vance, though. I know DeSantis has a better track record in terms of running a state, but DeSantis is kind of tarnished because of his 2024 campaign. It's not going to be Mark Cuban. Yeah, I don't think Mark Cuban's gonna be the Democratic candidate or not. I don't even think he's gonna run. But yeah, some variation of that, like Jon Stewart. I mean, I don't know who it would be, but Homecoming. That's what I said. I said Homecoming was the best Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. Yeah, no, I agree. I think Homecoming was the best. This one was pretty good, but not as good as that one. Fishback still going. Yeah, Fishback said he had some type of dirt on Byron Donalds. I don't know. It just kind of seems like desperation at this point. So that election is still not until I think the 19th. Man, they drag that on, don't they? So the Republican primary is the 19th, and then 2 months later is the general. That's just such a short period. Best Spider-Man movie so far. The one that the brand new day you think is? I would disagree. I mean, I think it's good. I wouldn't say it's that good. Myra Donald wants to build AI data center right on the beach. That can't. They're not gonna write. He's not gonna build a data center on the beach. I mean, he wants to build more data centers, and you need more data centers, but it has to be in places that are not protected, like the wetlands and what have you. What do you drive looking to buy a new car? I drive a Chevy Cruze. I honestly don't know what to tell you in terms of buying a new car. Depends what your budget is and what you like, I guess. I'm not a real big car person. Tom Holland's Spider-Man gives off too much Disney Channel vibes. I think it fits. I think it fits Tom Holland with Spider-Man. I mean, now it's been 4 movies, so I guess you kind of get used to it. It is getting to a point though. It's like, well, is this story gonna wrap up? Who's the next one? Tom Holland's becoming an adult. I guess they're just gonna get another movie out of him, probably in like 2028, 2029. What is that schedule? I guess it depends on whatever Tom Holland projects are, but probably 2029, I guess. Did you go see the new Odyssey movie? No, I haven't seen that. Tom Holland is getting too old to play college age Spider-Man. He's in his 30s now. Is he serious? I mean, he looks like he's like 27 or 28 in the film. I'm not great at discerning ages though, to be fair. To me, he looks like he's my age, honestly, if you look at him in the film. Maybe slightly older. He's in his 30s. You're gonna go see it tomorrow night. The Odyssey movie. Yeah, they'll be showing that in theaters for another 3 months, bro. They got to make a lot of money. What was the budget for that Odyssey movie? There was a ridiculous amount of celebs in that, good actors or high level actors. That budget was like $500 million or something, dude. It's insane. They got a lot of money to make back. I think they may have made it back. I'd imagine they would, because how is a Christopher Nolan movie not going to make money with that cast? Tom Holland is not 5'5". There's no way. He might be like 5'9". He's not 5'5" though. I'd be able to tell. He might be 5'9", 5'10". He still looks like a baby face. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I thought he was like my age, maybe like 28, maybe 20. I mean, I guess 30 is not, 30 is, but 30 for him is pretty crazy. He does not really look 30. I mean, also it's the movie, but even Tom Holland in other movies looks younger. He doesn't really look like a competent, well, I don't want to say like a competent adult, but he gives the vibe of like a more of a frat guy, I'd say. But I don't know. He's in this new Odyssey, so he's doing some serious acting with this Odyssey. What about Dune? I never seen Dune before. They're making another Dune. There was a video for it. There was a trailer. Nah, I'm 26, not 25. They claim the budget for Odyssey was around 400 million, including marketing, but I suspect they're being conservative. Of course, they're going to try and downplay the budget because they want it to read in the headlines they made a bunch of money. Yeah, this donation is just great. Let's see if it gets read. You probably don't recognize me, you black. Yeah, it's just, it's a nice troll. Oh, great.
At Logan Service
The one she
$8,595 through
reads.
Super Chat. Hey man. You probably don't recognize me. But you blocked me on Grindr 2 days ago. Can you unblock me please? Sad face emoji.
Very, very funny. You're gonna be 23 next month. Am I cooked? How does life? How is life after your early 20s? It depends your life situation. Your life could significantly improve, or it could get worse. The reason most people's lives gets worse as they get older is because they just get added responsibility. But if you had a bad teenage experience and now you're in a better position in life, you'll probably have a more enjoyable 20s. So it really just depends. But most people, they're going to have added responsibilities in your 20s, so there's going to be less free time, and that's why they say it's worse. You're 44 years old and you can pass for 28, 27. Now that's, and then you aged very well. You aged like Tom Holland. Although Tom Holland, man, nah, I'm not gonna hairline watch him. But I'm sure Tom will get some help. Life in the 30s. Well, it depends your life situation in your 30s. It probably, yeah, it can suck for sure. You're 27, about to be 28. You're at the point where you realize you need to get your shit together. Yeah, it's kind of a tough realization. It's hard to really, it's hard to picture yourself at certain ages. I don't know. It's just weird. Going to be a dad on January 25th, 2027. Congratulations, man. Yeah, I know you were telling me about your fiance and stuff, so yeah, gaining weight is something that you, when you get to your 30s, your metabolism gets shot. You're frying your income renting in the financial district, NYC, but you have a great job. Yeah, I mean, that's the trade off. You're going to make a ton of money. You're also going to pay a ton in rent. It's all relative. That's kind of the, and if you are in NYC at an office job, they have to pay you well. The rent, it's probably 3 or 4 thousand a month for a shitty apartment. You remember your older video? Yeah, I don't know why people sometimes talk about that video with that lemon tree. It's got like 400 views, maybe, dude. That's like, I remember people talking about that every now and again. Yeah, I think Spider-Man is one of the best superheroes. I like Batman maybe a little bit more. Yeah, I think Alabama will start Russell, but I don't know anything about that quarterback battle with Austin Mack. How come you left the old vlog style videos behind? They were. What are you talking about? Those videos didn't make me any money, bro. I mean that.
At Logan Service $8,595 through Super Chat. Guys, don't use Opera GX, it's a Jewish honeypot selling your info to Palantir.
Thanks for the update. Thoughts on the NCAA court ruling? What was the ruling? All I saw was the Big Ten and the SEC said they would support the bill. Why'd you make that lemon tree video? I don't know, dude. I was younger. It's just a stupid video. Don't trust dating apps, women. I would not go on dating apps, US market. Fair enough. The storytime videos were sick. Dude, this is an interesting one. This is a pretty good one. I never do this, but I went to Walmart today. Normally I go to Target. I went to Walmart today. So, oh, it's just a cesspool on Saturdays. It's just horrible. I just hate being around a lot of people and stuff. And so I actually got a cart because I was like, I need food. I had to get something. I ended up only getting like 9 things. And I went to the self checkout, whatever. And so I'm pushing my cart to go out the store. And there's a Walmart greeter. It's some old lady. And there's like this Vietnamese couple in front of me. They have a cart full of shit. So the Walmart greeter, they're in front of me. I'm behind the Vietnamese couple, or maybe the Asian couple, whatever. The Walmart greeter checks the receipt. You know, they always do this. This is like a standard thing at Costco. But at Walmart, it's like, you don't really know. So I'm standing behind them. I'm like, is she going to check mine? Because I figure it's a Saturday. They probably deal with a lot of this shoplifting and stuff. So then she comes up to me. She checks my receipt. I hand her my receipt. I only had like 9 things or 10 things, but it was a cart full of stuff. It was about a bunch of drinks. And as she's checking mine, this big black lady with like a mountain of a cart zooms past me as she's checking mine out the store. The lady that is the greeter, she's like, ma'am, ma'am, ma'am. And the black lady just leaves the store. And I was like smiling because it's like, you know exactly. I mean, obviously she's probably shoplifted, or it's just like the little things like that in terms of having a proper society. And you see things like that. And I'm not even somebody that gets out a lot. Maybe that'll change, but I just don't like going out to places with a lot of people. It's even in my city, it's pretty crazy how it's changed, man. Even probably in the past like 10 to 15 years. But it's like it's you know, that type of thing where even if you didn't shoplift or anything like that, to not have what it is it's societal courtesy that they don't, you know, that some people don't exhibit. And it's just like not putting your cart back in that cart thing, which I always do, because it's just like, I don't know, you just want to keep society running and you want to do your part. And with some people, it's just lost on them and they just don't have it. It's not programmed into them. Have you ever been to stores like Aldi where you have to pay for a shopping cart? Yeah, no, I have. The problem with like Aldi, dude, they didn't have a big selection. I remember going there with my mom, but that was like 4 years ago, maybe. Yeah, you have to pay like a quarter for a shopping cart or something. That's the other thing with like Walmart and stuff, dude. They have to just, because I think about my city. It's a suburban city, and it's not like it's a decent. I mean, I think it's gotten worse recently, but it's a relatively decent city. You think about like the hood areas, ghetto areas. I mean, most Walmarts close and leave, but the ones that stay, they can't even have self checkout. There's no way. I mean, even dude, but it's crazy looking at the comparison between Walmart and Target, and you can actually infer a lot of things in comparing the two. And it's like all these rich liberal girls shop at Target. They don't deal with Walmart. And I shop at Target too. But the other thing that I was thinking, it's just, if you want to even live around white people, it's like, oh, just move to like white enclave areas. They're all the most expensive. And you know, homes are already ridiculously expensive as it is. It's like a sick joke in terms of our country's demographics. Then they're like, oh, you're white. Just go find, there's a lot of white places in the country. And yeah, they're all insanely expensive. Dude, I was looking at Zillow. I think every house on Zillow, if it was marked down 15%, that's the actual price. Seriously. Nothing infuriates me more when I go on Zillow and I see this like particular house style where it's brand new. They don't have like these houses are doing this thing where they'll build them and it'll be like 3,200 square feet. So it's a decent size, it's a good size house, but there's like no upstairs windows. So I'm like, okay, how is it 3,200 square feet? There's like one upstairs window. Like these houses will be 3,000 square feet and they build them and it's just like a sloped roof, but there's no windows to the upstairs. And they list them and it's $740,000 in like a suburban city For 3,200 square feet, $700,000, there's one upstairs window. There's like 5 windows in the entire house. The house has cheap siding. You know, maybe they'll use like that rock finish at the base and then the rest is siding. But it's just infuriating to see these Zillow listings. I was looking at some of these Zillow listings. People were telling me, they said, it's a lie. The houses have gone back down, and maybe they've slightly gone back down, but it's still fucked up, man. If you want a nice family home, in a lot of these places, it's going to run you, even for a home that's 20, 30 years old, 450, 500K. Dude, Walmart is just destroyed. Well, my Walmart got a renovation. It didn't even change anything. They said they renovated it. The other thing with Walmart, the carts are horrible. Can they just replace the carts? I mean, you'd think that they're a multi-billion-dollar company, they'd replace carts. The Target replaced the carts a few months ago, thankfully. Now the carts are really nice. But you get these horrible carts. They're missing a wheel, or the wheel doesn't work. It doesn't...
At Logan Service $8,595 through Super Chat. Obama had a policy in DHS where if a certain neighborhood got too white, they would bring in Section 8 to diversify it.
Oof. But it is crazy how the marketplace works in terms of housing and how it correlates to racial divisions. But it's like, dude, these places are already so expensive. And nobody can really say it either. It's like they can't say it. And the worst part is, it's like, all of these snobby, spoiled kids, they're the ones that are liberal. Like in Massachusetts and other areas in Vermont. And it's just like all these ultra-rich kids who, of course, they afford to because their parents, they live in these ultra-right places, but they're very liberal. Listen, if you're liberal, you got to live in a diverse area. I'm sorry. That is like engraved into your DNA if you're a liberal. Shouldn't you live in a diverse area? Isn't that the entire modern thesis of liberalism, what it's become? But then it's like, well, no, you conservative, you go live in this area because you don't have the money. We're going to stay. It's like, okay, but you're just proving my worldview. Boomers had families of 1,200 square feet. Not anymore. And look, the boomer thing, I think it's understandable that boomers have the most wealth because they're the oldest and things appreciate in the stock market, but it is pretty insane the amount of wealth that they control. Costco, dude, Costco's... You say Costco like it's a good thing. Oh, the crazy thing with Costco is there's a barrier to entry. It's a membership, and you still see Costco filled to the brim. Costco is filled to the brim every day. There's people outside waiting to get in Costco at 9:30 a.m. when it opens. Costco is not even an enjoyable, and also Costco has, it's everything in bulk. I mean, I don't need to buy things in bulk like that. But Costco 15 years ago, my Costco was a lot different than it is now. You're 20, not a liberal, not a far right conservative. I was never a liberal. You heard Costco is filled with Indians. There's that is a place you'll see a decent amount of them. Yes, yes, and that's a barrier to entry. You think about it, and it's like it doesn't even matter. Costco is basically New Delhi. It has a nice food court. Well, Costco at least has done an American thing where they keep the prices the same on the hot dog, and okay, that's nice. I like that. I appreciate it. They have really good pizza, Costco. I like you get the one big piece of pizza. When I was younger, I used to get it, and a fruit Strawberry smoothie. Costco has good selection for relatively low prices, but yes, there are a ton of Indians. Yeah, but it's all in bulk. I mean, it should be cheap prices relative to singular items because you have to buy it in bulk. Yeah, I saw the Elon Musk interview with the European Union lady or something. Yeah, I saw that. But I mean, the funniest part of that interview was her saying how much safer. Well, there's a few takeaways from that interview. It's like, yeah, if you look at the demographics, I'm not surprised that England has a lower crime rate than the United States. What if Musk said that? But then another thing, it's like, lady, obviously we have a lot more freedoms in the United States. So they like try and compare shootings and stuff. Yeah, we have the right to bear arms. So there are going to be more shootings, but there's also going to be more of a freedom to self defense with a weapon. It's like, I don't understand this thought of like, well, you have more shootings. It's like, okay, so if you lived in a totalitarian state where crime, you couldn't commit crime because you had no rights, that would be good. Like, that's literally what you're arguing. Like that is the dumbest thing that these liberal Euros argue. Well, we don't have any shootings. Well, you don't have a lot of freedom. That's the problem. So if you live in a totalitarian state where you can't even go outside, technically you have no crime. You have no crime. So see how dumb they are. What about the Spain situation? Well, that's they need. What about Article? What is the point of Article 5? They got it. They got invaded. I mean, it is like an enclave within Morocco. I honestly didn't even know that existed. They have a little sliver of Morocco. It's an enclave, and of course, it wants to remain part of Spain. It's like a proxy to Spain. It's an interest. Again, I didn't even know they had that sliver of Morocco. They got invaded, and they didn't even invoke Article 5. What's the point? There's NATO is so weak. Yeah, I guess North Korean life is best. I mean, look at how the crime rate's got to be so low. Listen, it's the crime rate is low. That means it's the best. The yeah, they have no rights. That's the point. Do you think Mormon women are becoming liberal? There's a problem in Utah with, and I think the main problem with Utah is Salt Lake City and the suburbs. They're all getting liberals. It's the same thing that happened to Colorado. Colorado is a distinct state that could have been seen as a swing state back in the 2010s or at least the 2000s, and they got it. I think they got an influx of, in part, an influx of people that fled from California for for a variety of reasons. And I think Utah is next, but Utah is still heavily conservative. But you know, in 2024, it was one of the only states that didn't go more to the right. I think Utah has gotten an influx of liberals. What states will still feel like America in 20 years? Well, it's hard to say. I mean, maybe I don't know. I don't visit different states, but Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota. I mean, you got to be careful because those states have such low populations. It can change quickly. It's like Canada, but Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, I mean, Montana's a weird state. Idaho has been a popular. Boise has been a liberal hive. They're pouring in from California, but no, Idaho's still going to be conservative. Why are Republicans so dead set on importing Indians when Indians overwhelmingly vote Democrat? Well, it's for the H-1B. They want to extract cheap labor. Now with Indians, it's a different thing versus like Mexicans and these other immigrants because they get cheaper labor, they get more work hours, and they have more control over immigrants on H-1B visas. And the H-1B visa, to acquire that, you have to have, I believe, some type of degree. And so they already have a vetting system where you have to reach a certain degree to get in, which honestly is even worse because that means they're taking decent to relatively good middle class jobs. And you do have American citizens chilling out 50,000, 80,000, $100,000 in college debt, pay for tuition, and then their job is, which is a decent job, is getting taken by an H-1B visa. Now the O1, I don't think any of this should exist. I just think the country has to have an identity and the people within the country have to uplift the country. We are not a recruitment ground. Like, this is the thing that they'll argue. They'll say, well, we don't like the H1, but the O1 is good because that's exceptional talent. That's what brought in Elon Musk. And obviously Elon Musk is like one in a million, literally, in terms of the amount of money he can bring and the jobs and the companies. But the argument is, well, just do the O1 because it's a lot less people and they're just exceptional people. But that, even that in and of itself, that's just like recruiting the world to the United States. I mean, how can you have a country with any actual culture if you're just recruiting the best people from other countries into your own country? You say, well, we win, but at what cost? What's the point? You really don't have an actual country at that point. You're just some type of commerce center. Microsoft CEO lady is firing Americans. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that article. And you know what? The shareholders, I'm sure, love it because they're paying them less. And that should not be allowed. It should be illegal. You shouldn't be able to do that. But isn't it like 2,500 Americans got laid off and they're going to hire H-1Bs and I'm sure they're going to get paid less again? Xbox CEO, yes. GOP wants cheap labor to bring in factory workers. Yeah, 100%. I mean, they both have their motives, of course, but the GOP allows it because, I mean, look at Trump. It's a balancing act. These farmers bitch and moan. They say no American actually wants to work. I mean, what is going on in the agriculture business? The agriculture business will shut down without illegal immigrant labor. Is that what they're basically saying? Can we not maybe talk about this to a bigger degree? Do they need to get some type of technologically advanced crop dusters or something that are remote control? I mean, because what are we talking about here? They keep talking about this amnesty for illegals because the farmers will not be able to exist by hiring Americans because they're going to have to pay them more. So is that industry, can it just not operate without illegal immigrants? Do you plan on staying in Ohio? Have you looked at other options? Yeah, I've looked at other options for sure. I've looked at other options outside of Ohio, like the middle of the country mainly. Do you think Ohio State goes undefeated? Not with that schedule, no. The thing is, this is the most important thing, and this is what I realized. You really have to go, and this is what Trump didn't do. He didn't do enough of. I mean, there's no way. You have to go hard in the paint on day one. You have got to go balls to the wall day one, almost like police state. You have to set the tone day one when you get into office, because if you limp dick it, the rest of the administration, you're playing catch up. Because the thing is, you have so much political capital day one, so much. You do things and you're just kind of allowed to do them because you won. But as time goes on, it's not that people forget that you won, but your political power wanes and wanes and wanes, and the left starts mounting. opposition. And then it gets to the situation with ICE where they go out and they protest. And then for them, the two people dying just gave them more political capital to be against ICE. But it's like, how can anyone refute anything that Trump does day one after he won so emphatically 3 months ago or whenever? My first order of business. You remember that? That was a great video. Great edit, I guess. Trump should have invoked the Insurrection Act in Minnesota. But I'm saying it shouldn't have even gotten to that point. You should have. All of the major urban centers should have had a significant amount of law enforcement. I guess National Guard. And you do it on day one because it like sets the tone and people know what to expect, and then you can wane off of it. That's the idea. Because you're always going to have to wane off of it unless it's like popular. Nothing in America, any president, you're just not going to have things that are popular invoked now by whoever the president is, whether it's Biden or Trump, because the way social media works and how divided the country is. But you got to go really hard day one. You have to go when you have your most political capital. You have your most political capital day one, or if they somehow like win the midterms. But the midterms are going to be really ugly. They're not going to be ugly in the sense Republicans are going to get trounced, but it's going to be like, well, the Democrats took the House, Republicans keep the Senate. Maybe they lose one seat. They hemorrhage one seat in the Senate. They're at 52. They lose the House by 10 or 11 seats. That's what it's going to be. And then Democrats will scream that, they flipped the House and whatever, but it's not going to be this crazy sweep, I don't think, where Democrats win everything. I think the Democrats screwed themselves with this socialist movement. Well, I mean, it wasn't the establishment, but just in general, how it's evolving. I think that some of these candidates for the Democrats are going to lose. I think they're going to struggle in Michigan. That could be a flip for Republicans. That would be catastrophic in the Senate if Rogers won Michigan. With conservatives giving birth to more kids than liberals. Yeah, I know. And hopefully that maintains. I mean, you're projecting far into the future. Now, the thing is, I've studied it with that. Yeah, conservatives' birth rate is insanely, relative to liberals, insanely better. And then liberals do the cope and say, well, the kids will just become liberal. And that's not how it works. If you're born into a conservative family, these studies have been done. It's around 80% chance you maintain the conservative beliefs and you'd come out as a Republican. It's not 100%. Like, you'll get some liberal women that rebel against their racist family, but it's like 80%. And there's been studies that say 75 to 80%, but they will likely retain the beliefs. So, ideally that would be good. I mean, I think the Democratic Party will have to morph into something else. And so maybe it won't be as clear cut as, well, all of these Republicans are having kids, and so they're going to have a major advantage. Because maybe the Democratic Party becomes something else. I mean, you would think, I would insinuate that it would have to become more moderate if Republicans are having more kids to trying to appeal to those kids. But you just don't know. It's kind of far out to predict something like that. But I do agree. I mean, Republicans are having more kids. Kids tend to take after the politics of their parents. Chances Republicans lose the Senate, I think it's only a 10% chance at this point now. Not with that Abdul El Saeed in Michigan. I mean, I guess he could win. That's their seat to retain. But they were really going against him, and there's a reason why Gretchen Whitmer endorsed Stevens, who is not impressive at all. But Stevens is going to lose now, it looks like, the primary. Trump going to speak up on these flat cameras? Yeah, I mean, listen, the flat cameras, it's a tough situation either way. I mean, yeah, I see the issues with it. Yeah, it depends how they're utilized. It's hard to trust. Can't trust the government. I mean, you would like to not have it. Ideally, there would be other things that are worked out before these flat cameras. being installed. Thoughts on the American dream, owning your own property and home in the future? Do you think people are screwed? The cost is just too high relative to wages. That's the problem. You have to lower housing costs and at least stabilize wages. But also, I mean, I don't even know, man. It's hard because you think, well, you get rid of the H-1Bs, you do X, Y, and Z. There's more jobs for Americans, but I don't know. You didn't. You said last week you didn't think the flock camera issue was a big deal. Well, I mean, listen, it becomes a big deal if there is constant spying by the government. It just depends how they're being installed. And no, I mean, I do think it is a problem if the government spies on you like that. I think it's a bit naive to say that. I mean, ideally, it's like depends how it's utilized, but you see them everywhere in Northeast Ohio. Huh, really? Brett, thank you for that. Yeah, I get somebody every stream that just randomly says, I love your videos, bro. It happens like once a stream. It's great. Spider-Man rocked. Yeah, no, I thought Spider-Man was good. The new one. Did you hear in China a pastor was arrested? I didn't hear that. Private company Flock can use images for whatever. Yeah, I mean, I never heard of that company until these cameras got installed. And do you think Gen Z and everyone else will be former renters? Well, I think it definitely makes sense for most young people now to rent. The cost of homes are just way too much. Mortgages, devoting a certain amount of your income towards that versus the stock market, which multiplies, which, the most powerful time to invest in the stock market, if you're going to do the normie 401k, and there's nothing wrong with that, but just hedge yourself against inflation, the most powerful time to accumulate is when you're in your 20s. And so I think people are probably looking at putting money away and having it for later. I do think it's, these people talk about like, well, you look on Fidelity even, because I really never really used Fidelity. I'm buying some ETFs here and there, so I use it now. They're like, you do your calculations to see how much money you have when you retire at 65 or 70. It's like, dang, that's crazy. I think a lot of these young people look at that and say, fuck that. I'm not going to retire by the time I'm 65. And maybe it's short-sighted, but I think a lot of these young people don't want something like that. Just from my inclination, they look at 65 and say it's way too late. I mean, maybe it won't matter. I mean, the young people have no wealth right now relative, but I mean that's kind of to be expected when you're young. But the problem is the ratio in terms of wages versus cost of goods, cost of a home. Like the one thing that has remained the same is like electronics. Like electronics relative to like inflation don't really increase, or I guess relative to wages don't really increase. It's interesting. That's why TVs are still so cheap. And if you're a young person, you could buy a massive TV that's impressive. It's like a smart TV at $600. But imagine if TVs went up at the same rate that houses did. I mean, what would a massive TV cost? Probably like $5,000 at this point. Like that's what we're talking about with these housing prices going up relative to wages being stagnant, or at least not going up at the same rate. Changing jobs is the main reason. Well, I mean, there's people change jobs because they get a increase in pay. I don't think it's changing jobs unless, man, they're shooting off fireworks tonight. For what reason? I don't know. Average age of a home buyer isn't at 41 now. used to be in your 20s. Someone said it was 59 years old the other day. I don't think it's 59. I mean, but it's like people buying, if you're buying a home at 60, you probably already have had previous homes. But I mean, I guess it just shows you, like, if you're a young person, it's very hard to buy. You got to have dual income. I mean, that's kind of like the whole feminist angle now. It's like these couples realize the cost of everything. You kind of need a dual income household. You're eating some fire wings. I like wings. Yeah, I do like wings from a good place. I never intentionally go out and get wings, but Antonio's Pizza, I get wings with that. I like honey mustard wings. People don't like that. They don't like honey mustard. No, I like the honey mustard. I like the honey mustard. BBQ is fine. I don't know about the other flavors. Teriyaki chicken. Teriyaki chicken's a fine flavor. Or chicken teriyaki. Jersey Mike's. Yeah, I had Jersey Mike's. I don't know if I believe the hype. Jersey Mike's is just another sub place to me. I actually like Firehouse in above Jersey Mike's. Firehouse subs, they got a good hook and ladder. I like Firehouse personally. I'm not eating out as much. There's all these contaminants going around. These people are getting sick left and right with this fast food. There's a parasite going around. You get it from Chipotle. You get it from Taco Bell. Any fast food place, there's parasites going around. You're best to cook your own food. I got to go out and get some meat or something. I'll cook it myself. I can't do these places preparing. People keep getting sick. I see it everywhere. Do you eat lettuce? I eat lettuce on my burgers. That's the problem. Yeah, lettuce is a big that's where the parasites come from. I went to a very nice restaurant, had a burger. It was very good. I didn't get sick from it. That was like 4 days ago, 5 days ago. Do you watch any cooking shows on YouTube? No. Do you think we need a premium grocery store with a membership fee, dress code? Yes, a dress code would be great. That would inspire people if it. And the thing is, I wear jeans, and look at this. I got a. It's an okay shirt, but even just you have to wear jeans or something. You have to wear because a dress code would be much welcomed. And then even for airports, people get really pissy about that. We want to wear comfortable things. If I go to an airport, I'll wear jeans. I'm fine with that. I'm wearing jeans. I don't wear sweatpants. I'm not a 16-year-old kid. I'm not going to be wearing sweatpants. I don't wear sweatshirts or hoodies. I don't wear hoodies with the pullover. I'm not a 15-year-old kid. Yeah, people got to start dressing better. That's a huge issue, and it inspires people, and it's just a better, more eloquent society. But a dress code would probably be the best thing. I mean, a membership fee. I know what you're doing. You're trying to filter people out. I mean, we tried that with Costco. You truly believe it will be premium luxury to own a home and land that it sits on in 10 to 20 years? Yeah, no, I agree. I think home ownership is just it's gonna really elude a lot of young people. They're gonna be left renting their entire lives. It's a sad, sad situation. I mean, dude, even me, this is how I look at it. Let's be very clear. The end goal is to buy a nice house. That is the end goal. Now I say, well, rent, in your 20s or whatever. But the end goal, I think, for me and many other young people, we want to buy our own house. That's still the end goal. We want to buy the land it's on. Memberships don't entirely price them out. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I said that about Costco. If it's a well, it's a $50 yearly membership. It's only like $3 a month. $200, $300 yearly membership. Do it now. Whoa, $300? That's a tough one to swallow. $300 yearly membership to Target. Do it now. What if timeshares get popular again? Dude, the timeshares, the only thing I saw people would say, well, it's you should never get a timeshare. It's a waste of money. Yeah, I'm never getting a timeshare. That's an old person thing. With population decline in 10 years after boomers pass on, will there be a surge of houses open? Well, I think it depends on immigration as well. If immigration continues declining with like it is under Trump, then yeah, you're gonna potentially the housing market can reset or at least be alleviated. Like I said, I think every house, if it was marked down 15%, that's the actual price. Now, maybe that's because I can't cope with inflation, but seriously, I get angry looking at. I will get angry if I see one of these new houses and it's 3,000 square feet and it's almost $1 million and there's not even an upstairs window. So where is the actual? Where is the home? Is it buried underneath? Why would you? Why is most of the home in the basement and there's no windows? But they say it's like where's the actual house? It'll be like a 10,000 square foot house, and it'll be like there'll be like one upstairs window. I'm kidding, but yeah, that's the same with me. I liked it, but didn't love it. Now the homecoming is better. This is a good one. I think it probably could have been 2 hours, 5 minutes, not 2:25. I think maybe for a Spider-Man movie, it's a bit aggressive. But there were a few parts, but no, it was good. Did you see the HOA kicked out a woman out that inherited her dad's house being under 55? Well, that doesn't make any sense. She should be allowed to sell the house. You can't get kicked out if you inherit something like that. So she inherited the home, and there was no 55 and over person living in it because I'm familiar with those 55 and over communities. She should be at least able to be allowed to sell the house, or I mean that's what I think is probably going to happen with that. You divorced in 2017 and took a lot family separation. Well, divorces happen too. They're also common. I think the divorce rate it's about 30% if you don't include serial divorces. People keep remarrying, get divorced, that hires the number. If you get married, there is like a 30% chance it's going to be a divorce statistically. But the marriage situation is it's just like all the wedding and that stuff. I don't know about that, man. You expected it to be better than No Way Home, but I was wrong. I never saw No Way Home. I saw the other two Tom Holland movies, but not that one. Yeah, I mean, the No Way Home was just kind of a. They just wanted to include Maguire and Garfield. Yeah, they also leaked the Odyssey, and then it got taken down on X. They got to do something about that. The Odyssey got leaked day one. You're still on the Trump train? Uh, I hope the country succeeds, honestly, man. Trump, there's been two major flubs in the administration, and it's unfortunate. But, the thing that with Trump, it's like if you do have net negative migration, it's hard to ignore that. But again, I do think you could have done more at the beginning. We got to find some of these. I want to see some of these Trump posts. They're going to be all over here. Trump was right about Venezuela. So Trump just posted this meme, "Hello Greenland." No caption. He posted him in an Elvis suit. Like, what is this? But why is this good? President Trump ages in reverse. Same guy, even more energy now. I guess acting like a founding father. Venezuela, 51st state. But why did he just post this without a caption? Hmm. But what is the point? Trump 2028. He's trying to prove the vandalism. Boomer slop. He just posts these things with no captions. I don't know if he just doesn't know he's the president or. I mean, it's funny. It's funny he doesn't care. But I mean, but why did he post himself with an AI alien? I don't really see how that's relevant to anything. I mean, did he just think it was cool and say, "I'm just gonna post it because it looks cool with an alien"? He's obsessed with the pool. Well, I mean, to be fair to Trump, liberals made a huge deal. This is the thing. It's like, dude, it's just a renovation. He's trying to renovate a big problem, which is the reflection pool. The reflection pool is like 2,000 feet long. So it's a major aspect of the processional area of DC. So you need it to be clean. They're trying to clean it. Why are liberals so obsessed with it? It costs $13 million. Whoop-de-doo. Liberals spend $20 million on like a single gender study course. I don't see what the issue is with trying to fix the reflect. Maybe they did a shitty job. I mean, it's unfortunate if they did the shitty job if the contractor, I mean, but I don't really get this obsession with it. I mean, they're just trying to do some repair projects. They don't have to freaking watch everything that Trump does like a fucking hawk. They're just obsessed with him. Do you ever nightlife? Not really. I mean, if I was in a different city, I'm not big on drinking, man. 2030 a 2030 agenda. The idea of Universal basic income, owning nothing and being happy. Well, I mean, I thought that was 2050 agenda or something. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's always something. If you listen, if inflation keeps going up and outpacing wage increases and the housing market, that's the problem that's gonna happen. I mean, people are gonna not own homes because they can't afford them. They have to do something with housing. They're gonna have to build more houses, deport people, the combination of the two. You know what? They've actually solved the problem temporarily, at least in some of these liberal cities and conservative states like Austin, where they allow them to build a fuck ton of apartments and stuff. The apartment price went down significantly. We just don't want commie blocks or anything like that. That's when you get the affordable housing. It's like, ugh. Do you think Trump continues to strike Iran? Dude, I saw Alex Jones. I'm going to try and find that. Is it on this account or my other accounts? I think it's on my other accounts. But yeah, Alex Jones is going crazy. I think Alex Jones said that Trump they want to do a ground invasion. I can't believe they would want to do a ground invasion right now. $86.47. Yeah, that's their code. 8 feet down, 6 feet wide, or some shit. President Trump posts himself with an alien. But it's just like a still image. I don't really. Camp David. American Heritage. Camp David. Is dating cooked in 2026? How are you successful? Well, what I'll tell you on dating, no Instagram. The girl, there's got to be no Instagram, or at least she doesn't care about her Instagram. And you got to do IRL. It's really the only way. And I'm sorry, but maybe you meet her at work. Maybe you meet her at a function. Online, I would avoid. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna happen. You know what? It's actually bad advice because most relationships start online. But I'm just being real with a lot of guys. It's not a good situation. You're basically playing against. Let's just say you don't have control of the market. Do you find it weird in the recent Musk interview where he said money wouldn't matter for people and the national debt, etc., seemed very strange? He constantly says that. He said people aren't going to work in 10 years. Someone needs to. It's the same thing as like I'm sorry, I like Elon Musk and stuff, but that's just like saying nobody has to work because of communism. Like, dude, okay, why don't you explain how that's going to actually work in practice? So the AI is going to take literally all the jobs and people are going to be able to leisure around and get a universal. Elon Musk has been pushing universal basic income because he says AI will take over and do everything for us. So people are not going to have to output any work and they're just going to get money. It's just like, dude, I don't even think people would find fulfillment in that. It just doesn't. If you are under 6 feet tall, not blasting test in Reddit, dude, I know how many guys are on Reddit. Oh my god, so many. Test, I don't know. I mean, I guess test is probably another thing they think, but Reddit is all the young kids are all on Reddit. Feel like feels like guys like Fuentes and Alex Jones thrive off of chaos, so it's hard to take a lot of what they say seriously when they are making a living off of the terrible things going on. Well, any of these online personalities, they need storylines. So that's why now you've got Sneeko versus Nick Fuentes, because the storylines, it allows them to talk about something. It reaches a climax where they're going at something, or Alex Jones splitting from Trump, or they need to constantly make something, some type of story, because I think it's probably better for their views. Now, for someone like me, I really can't do that because I'm not big enough. I'm not a known name. But if you're a known name, you create these storylines, and it's just like content in a sense. Because otherwise, I mean, think about it. The thing that I was thinking about with like Nick Fuentes, he has to do this show 5 days a week or 4 days a week, however many days he does it. It's like Joe Rogan and doing the podcasts. Like, dude, let's be honest. Sometimes there's nothing to talk about. You're going to say the exact same shit over and over again. But you kind of have to do it because it's your job and you get paid. But like, I remember watching Joe Rogan episodes, and he would just say the same thing over and over again. And it would be like, there's no way Joe Rogan would actually be doing this podcast if he wasn't paid by Spotify $20 million a year, but he has to do it. Alex Jones has been saying the same stuff for 20 years. Trump flipped from Dem to Republican in 2014, flipped campaign promises. Well, I mean, I don't really take. I like Alex as an entertainer. He's a cool, but like him flip. I mean, it's fun to see the videos. I get entertained by him, but I don't know him flipping from Trump. I don't really have an emotional reaction to it. Apparently, Fuentes has infiltrated the GOP, according to Politico. Yeah, I mean, Fuentes has the popularity to gain some infiltration with some younger groypers. To what level, nobody really knows. Will it matter? I mean, we'll see. It's like the opposite, the inverse of the DSA. Now the DSA actually has inroads, and and it's honestly easier for the DSA, and the reason it's easier is because when you look at the far right and like the idea of mobilized white men, that's a big no-no versus whatever the hell the DSA is. They'll allow that to a much higher degree than they will a further right-wing movement. But it's like, to what level does Fuentes actually have infiltration within the GOP? Nobody really knows. They can say whatever numbers or what. I mean, who knows, dude? And he's plateaued, and he knows he's plateaued, and we'll see if he gets bigger. Is the Groiper literally just a Fuentes fan or some other type of thing that Fuentes also belongs to? No, it's just a Fuentes fan. Fuentes backed Fishback, his influence overrated. Well, yeah, I mean, in terms of him influencing an election the way Trump can, there's not even close. I mean, him backing Fishback, Fishback is like, the problem is, you look at the GOP, Byron Donalds got the endorsement of everyone within the Republican Party. He got the endorsement from Vance. Actually, the only person he really didn't get an endorsement from was Ron DeSantis. I don't think Ron DeSantis likes Byron Donalds at all. But Byron Donalds got the endorsement from Trump and Vance and everyone. The party is still Trump. The people that vote in these primaries, I mean, think about how niche that is. A primary versus a midterm versus an election. You think there's going to be a bunch of 20-year-old groypers going to vote in a fucking primary? It's all 53-year-old, 65-year-old people. Look at Dan Bilzerian. He's going to get crushed in his race. These young people don't vote. They just don't. Well, his campaign was horrible, to be fair. Would you ever dabble in peptides? I'm not interested. I don't want to put shots in my body every day and stuff like that. Like, I understand, there's an added benefit or whatever, but something like that, I don't think so, man. I understand, it's possibly easier. That's the thing. It's so much, well, I shouldn't say this because technically it is easier to not eat, but when you have hunger pains, it's the worst thing ever. You can't really function properly. It sucks. So I understand why people do it. What part of the GOP would you say you're aligned? That's a good question. Uh, I'm somewhere, I don't know, man, honestly. Will JD Vance campaign What will JD Vance campaign on in 2028? Will it be USA first? Will he mention MAGA? Well, that's the thing. Vance is going to have to cultivate his own thing. I mean, he can take. The thing is, dude, the problem with Vance is it's like, imagine you're Vance and you latch onto a dying movement. And we'll see what happens with Trump. But let's be honest. I mean, with what's going on in Iran, they can either just say, fuck it, we're getting out, which I don't think they're doing. Or they can say, let's wait till the midterm ends and let's bomb the living hell out of them. And so if they decide to do that, that's going to have a ripple effect. The administration is going to be viewed negatively because inevitably things are going to go back up in price. And you just wonder with Vance, I mean, is it really, do you want to be tethered to MAGA in 2020? I mean, I guess you kind of have to because of the infrastructure that MAGA is at this point. But it's like, if you're Vance, you don't really have your own movement. I mean, think about even the inauthenticity of Vance to where he hated Trump and he was actually never Trump. I mean, it's one thing to be a Republican and be indifferent on Trump and then kind of just join the, I mean, but Vance actually was never Trump, I think, after he was elected. And I know people change and that's fine. But now to be like using the MAGA brand to try and win a general election in 2028, I don't know. Rubio's more qualified. Well, there's a lot of people more qualified than Vance. DeSantis is way more qualified than Vance. But, you know, to be fair to Vance, he's articulate. He's a smart guy. When you listen to Vance, he does make arguments that I don't think Rubio would make. I'm actually certain Rubio would not make. You think Rubio is ahead of Vance? I don't think so. I think Vance is still ahead. I don't even know. You know, I've heard Rubio's not even going to run. Now, maybe that changes. It's possible because, you know, Rubio's had ambitions before, and that's kind of my argument as to why he might end up running. But DeSantis can't win. He's too short. The height pill. No, it's true. You got to be like 6'1", 6'2", bro. You want to be president. Actually, isn't it like 6'2" and above? Presidents are always 6'2", 6'1", 6'5". Kamala had to have been like 5'7", 5'6". But to be fair, I mean, it is different for women. Why did President Trump start a full-blown war with Iran? I know that's what I thought he was going to maybe hit facilities or something. I just think it's not a good idea. And now it's a complete mess. Well, you know, the reporting is Trump was screaming at his staff. I mean, they probably advised him on things that, and they're just like, sir, we can't do this. And he's like, fuck off. He just was not angry. Anything under 5'10" is too little for a guy. In terms of being the president, yeah, I mean, historically, you got to be like 6'2", honestly, or 6'1". What should Trump do to stop the war? Well, what Trump should probably do is, I mean, it depends if you want them to admit strategical failure or not. Possibly there's a way to get out if you strike them really hard and then reach a deal. But it would have to happen so quickly, and you're risking possibly continuing the war and raising prices. I mean, you have to kind of admit defeat. If you want the war to end right now, they're not going to get a good deal. It's evident. Iran is holding out. The only way to get a good deal is if you bomb the living hell out of them and force capitulation. But how long does that take? they keep talking about this is another thing where I really can't compute this or understand it, and maybe it's just I don't know the actual amount that we have. They're running out of some type of missile launcher. Are you fucking how are we running out of anything? We haven't even launched a ground war against Iran. We have a military budget of $1 trillion. What are we running out of? Give me how is the US military running out of something? We literally stopped launching missiles at Iran for a month. We're running out of something. Are you kidding me? And I'm not saying, I want there to be a war, but this whole thing of they're actually not going to they can't continue because they're running out of missile launchers or some shit. What? Our $1 trillion military budget lasted 2 months in a war that we didn't even do a ground invasion on. You would have to strike vital infrastructure like power plants, water treatment facilities. That would end the war fast. Yeah, but then I mean, obviously they've thought of that, and there has to be some type of serious. There's always a yin and a yang. A solid portion of the military budget is fraud. That's not good. Missile defense Patriot rockets. What a joke. Yeah, we're running out of missiles 3 months into a war or 4 months into a war when 1 month there was a freaking ceasefire anyways. Oh yeah, that's awesome. I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter. What is Iran even going to do? And this is the big problem. The American people know Iran can't do shit against any state. They're not going to strike Alaska. They're not going to strike California. No American citizen is afraid of Iran. And you may say, well, that's short-sighted and long-term. If they get the nuclear weapon, it's a problem. And I agree. But when you're talking about a micro picture, if people don't view Iran as an actual threat and all of the price of things is going up and they attribute it to Iran, Trump is just not going to do well in terms of his approval, in terms of the administration for the midterms. It's like you can work out a deal with Iran, bring it back down to the civilian level. I go back to an article that I read back in February when it's like Iran was giving Trump an out. They said you can have a deal that on paper is way better than the Obama deal. It was enrichment to like 1.5% or something. Obama signed a deal that was enrichment to 3%. Trump can sign a deal, say, listen, yes, we're doing a deal like Obama did, but our deal is better and significantly better. And they just didn't do it. And that was after they struck him last year, because when they struck him last year, they were like, well, that severs it. They're not going to have diplomatic relations. But they still did. They were in those, but everyone thought, it was just lip service. It was window dressing. Everyone thought, it was inevitable that they were going to do something to Iran at some point. And now it's inevitable. They're going to calm everything down before the midterms, and then they're going to kick it up again. Unless they want to, I guess, immediately strike all the strategic infrastructure, but they're not doing that. "50% of military budget goes to fuel and maintenance for our ships and planes. A small portion goes to munitions." That is true. Think about the maintenance on all the equipment that the U.S. military has, like the aircraft carriers. Now they're saying the aircraft carrier is getting phased out. The aircraft carrier 20 years ago was the god. Remember that the U.S. had 17 aircraft carriers, the rest of the world had 10 combined? They were like, if you have an aircraft carrier, it's just a cheat code in a battle. Have you ever been out to California or anywhere out west? I've been to California. This was all 10 years ago, 9 years ago. I haven't really traveled much recently. I went to San Francisco, California, and around the cities around there. That was 10 years ago, maybe 11 years ago. I went to Las Vegas, Nevada 10 years ago, and that's it. I've never been to LA. I've never been to Phoenix, Arizona. If we really wanted to win the war, we could, but we don't want to do what it takes to annihilate the opponent. And at some point, you have to weigh that And obviously Ben Shapiro is going to say that, but honestly, I mean, to a degree, it's like they have to make a decision. They got to get the fuck out, or they're going to have to really escalate and force capitulation. But the thing is, if you really force capitulation, that's going to significantly higher the price of gas and thing. It's just like, I mean, the thing is, I think Trump thought that they could do it just by eliminating all their generals and shit. Evidently, that's not going to happen. Now they actually have to physically hit infrastructure. But, you know, it cripples the country, and then there's civilian deaths because the infrastructure is failing and there's no power. Like, think about how messy that is. I could have ran into you. You live in San Francisco? Dude, San Francisco is, I've heard some bad things about San Francisco in terms of the dating, but also just in general. I mean, obviously it's I do like the weather in San Francisco. I'm a fan of like 50 degrees. Yeah, it was interesting going to San Francisco in June, which is when we went, and it was like 56 degrees and people were wearing sweatshirts and stuff. I kind of liked it, honestly. It was like, we're on vacation. It's literally colder here than it is in Ohio. But I liked it. But then it gets warm in the afternoon. The sun comes out. Should guys under 5'10" wear height boosting insoles? No, I don't think so. I don't think lying like that. I don't really. I mean, I guess if you do a bunch of IRL stuff, but it's just like, it just reeks of insecurity, and I don't know. It's just not something. It just seems gimmicky and fake to me. But I'm not really a dating coach. I know they say to do that. I have been to Chicago. I like Chicago. Well, I only went once, but when I went to Chicago, I liked it. But you can only take it in small doses. I'm not a big city person for like a city like that. Dude, it was funny. I stayed at Trump Tower in Chicago back in 2015 before this entire thing started. Before he even ran. San Francisco is an Asian girl jungle, and they control the market. It's hilarious. San Francisco was the coldest spot in the U.S. about 2 weeks ago. I'm sure it is a lot of days in the summer, the coldest spot. It's either that or some like mountain area in like Colorado. In the summer, the lower 48 is all hot, man. In the summer. No, there actually are there are areas in like Wyoming where it's in the 50s pretty regularly in the summer. I don't think the Democrats will win. Oh, the governor's race? I don't know. Didn't DeSantis do that and it got exposed? Yeah, DeSantis wore lift shoes or something. Yeah, I mean, DeSantis is 5'11", I believe. Maybe 5'10 and a half. I don't know exactly. He's probably 5'11", just looking at his public appearances. I need to move to New Mexico. I don't think so about that one. 139-degree heat index in northern Iowa. The plains are getting annihilated with heat. It's probably the jet stream is just. Yeah, we got pretty lucky in Ohio the past month or so because we got this. When I wasn't streaming, it was horrible. Oh my. Yeah, we had about a week and a half. That was when I had jury duty, and it was 97 degrees was the high. It is crazy how much a 15 to 20 degree difference it makes. Like, even going from 82 to 97, that heat. Whew. How tall are you? Well, listen, I'm about 5'10". Nick Sorter posted an important update. Yeah, there's been a lot of important updates. They all seem to be saying the same thing over and over again. That's literally an old clip of Caitlin Collins. It's just how do I know when I have jury duty? They'll send you something in the mail a month prior. But they gotta stop with me. I did my time. You gotta take me off. I can't do it again. I did my time. I'm not doing that again. They're gonna call me again. No. They give you an exemption. They say you only have to do it once in your life. I got an exemption now. At least I got an exemption so I don't have to do it. I only had to do it for 2 days. Your ex told you that you were 5'12. Was that a backhanded insult? I think once you do jury duty, they like do it again. No, you don't have to do it again. That's the point. You do it so you don't have to do it again. They call you, they summon you. My mom's only done it once. There's a lot of people I know that never went to jury duty. They never got called. You got to be a registered voter to get called. 5'10" is average. 5'9" is below average. Anything shorter is very short. You have a low chance of getting female. Yeah, if you're like I mean, if you're 5'8", 5'7", you got to get like a 5'1" girl, and it's not ideal because then your kids are gonna be short. But you got like a 5'4", 5'5" girl, she's gonna want 6 foot easy. They all want 6 foot and above. You know, it's the Instagramification of women. They just like the men have to be a certain height. So and they compare them against each other, all their girlfriends. You know, all these women have these huge girlfriend groups, way bigger than guys. That's another thing. I wonder if they would do a study on like the friend group comparison. All these girls you talk to, they have the friend group is just like 12 girls, and it's all like sororities, and it's just honestly things that are just not good for society. It's like we're rewarding the wrong thing versus the guys' friend group. It's like normally it's a lot smaller. You're 6'3", your girlfriend is 5'2". Yeah, that's pretty typical. Why can't we put all the undocumented voters on jury duty? Well, no, we don't want to do that. I mean, they should make jury duty like technically I think you could get out of jury duty, but listen, if they call me again, I'm gonna be like, no, I'm not doing that, man. Come on. You know, I did it once. I was almost gonna try and get out of it. I did it once. I'm not doing that again. Like, no, seriously, this is not it's not funny anymore. It's not funny. But they said now you're exempt, and then my name is not even on the. It can't even be raffled. 6 feet is like magic. Your brother is 6'3". You're 5'11". Women in high school would throw themselves at your brother, and you barely existed. That's a pretty big difference for brothers. 4 inch difference. I mean, I guess it's possible, but is that seriously true? I mean, 5'11" in high school. I don't know if that. It seems like it. I don't know about that. You're 6'1". Your wife's 5'11". Hopefully, your kids play in the NBA. Yeah, your kids should be over 6 feet for sure. Maybe 6'4", 6'5" ranges. I mean, look at Trump and Melania with Barron. 5'9", 5'11", literally invisible height. We get the least amount of attention. Whoa, 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 whoa. Now you really listen. You think 5'9", 5'10" is bad? What about the guys that are 5'4", 5'5", 5'6"? That's, you think they get more attention? They don't. It's a lot harder for them. I mean, and you look at it, it's just a tough situation all around when you're that short. I mean, you look at even someone like Joe Rogan who has all of this. He seems to be very insecure about his height. He's constantly on his tippy toes. He says on his podcast, "I'm actually 5'7", but I shrunk." 5'10" isn't bad as a guy. Yeah, no, I don't think. I mean, 10 years ago it'd be fine, but now it's a little bit. But no, I don't think it's bad. It could be a lot worse. That's the thing with my height. It's like, well, it's not great. It's not horrible. I mean, ideally you get to like 6 foot, 6'1". I mean, it's whatever. Dave Portnoy. Yeah, I don't know. I think Dave Portnoy probably lied about his height, but I mean, I feel like people would figure it out. It's like when people say Nick Fuentes is like 5'6", 5'7". I mean, isn't he in public enough to where people would know if he's actually short? That's the weird thing. It's like with Dave Portnoy, wouldn't you know if the dude's actually like 5'6" and not 5'10"? He's in public enough. Joe Rogan is 5'10". If I had to guess, Joe Rogan is probably like 5'5" and a half, maybe 5'6", just by guesstimating. And that's even highballing it. Maybe 5'6". If you're 5'3", couldn't get a prom date. Single life isn't bad. Yeah, I mean, I understand that. That is a tough situation. I mean, listen, some of these women, they'll drain your wealth and stuff, and it's terrible in your time, and it's bad when you're a young guy. I agree. Sometimes it is ideal to be single, especially when you're building up wealth. Everyone in your family was making a big deal about your height when you were younger, thinking you'd be 6 foot, but now you're 5'10". That was like, well, my brother was always taller than me and then I reached the same height as him later in life. So it just depends on growth spurts and things like that. You probably were very tall for like a third and fourth grader, and then you just stopped growing at a certain point before a lot of other people. It's interesting how the human body works like that. But also, like, think about the idea of like growing as a person. Like, it is pretty crazy to think about that. I don't know. You hit 5'11" as a freshman. That's good. You were tall in middle school and the future was bright, but had ADD, took Ritalin, which stunts your growth allegedly. Yeah, if you were 5'11" as a freshman and you stayed that way, that is a bit strange. I mean, I guess it's possible. It just depends on your growth patterns and stuff, but why are illegal migrants being listed as white? Yeah, I don't really understand this. This is becoming a big problem. All of these obvious Hispanic people and sometimes black people get listed as whites, as white. Their race is white in crimes. When are they going to talk about that? When is that going to be mainstream? Trump has never mentioned that. Is that? I mean, I wonder if that's a serious problem. But like, I see it. Like, why is this person who's obviously not white being listed as white? Now, I don't know if it makes a difference in terms of how many are actually being listed. I understand like Hispanic adjacent or white people are being listed as white and stuff like that, but these people are clearly not white and they're being listed as white. So I don't really understand it. Why would that be happening? It's very clear. You can see on the photo. It's I mean like what is going on here? 5'11" isn't terrible though. It could be worse. Yeah, my guess, honestly, dude, you're probably 5'10". If you were actually 5'11", you'd say you're 6 foot. I'm just kidding with you. That happens to me too. People say you're not 5'10". Well, it depends. Were the storms bad in your area? I don't know. We got fireworks. I can't really. No, we didn't get any storms today. Very weird. It was supposed to storm today. Maybe there was an 80% chance, or maybe that's tomorrow. We got no rain. This happens all the time in my area in the summer. There's an 80% chance. Oh, it's not going to rain. This is just typical weather in the United States in the summer. No, I think I think it's invaluable having at a certain point when you build up enough. If you could find loyalty with a woman, and it's a yin and a yang, and they make each other better, I do believe that. Although I have been blackpilled with a lot of the stuff. Maybe a little bit more optimistic when I was younger, but no, we don't have any. Actually, we may still have some lingering smoke, but it's nothing. It's not. No, it literally only happens 2 days. It'll come in. It'll be horrible day one. It'll linger day two, and then it leaves completely. When we get that Canadian smoke, it only lasts here for around 2 days. You're almost 5'11". You're 5'10" and a half. Yeah, that's the tough thing because if you are 5'10" and a half, you should honestly say you're 5'11". That's fair. But that's the problem with these women. They'll scope it out. They'll be like, "You're actually 5'9". But it's like, lady, we're not going to argue about an inch. There's other inches we can argue about. But no. No, I mean, I'm like 5'10" with shoes. It's the same thing. Anything over 6'4", 6'5" typically has health issues and consequences. I think 6'4", you're all right. I don't know. It depends on the person and their genetics. I think you could carry yourself. The problem is when you start getting taller like that, keeping muscle is very hard, or gaining muscle at all is very hard. And then, dude, you see these tall guys throw a hissy fit. They're like, it's so much easier for you to build muscle. Yeah, but muscle doesn't even look that good if you're short. That's the other cruel thing. Just look for a woman in her mid-30s who wants kids yesterday. Well, she's been ran through. That's the other problem. These women, they get up to 28, 29. They got body counts into the 40s, 50s, maybe more. Now they want to settle down. And, they want to have a valuable relationship, so they withhold the sex. The guy gets obviously annoyed. Your body count's 50. Why are you withholding sex from me? I paid for a bunch of your shit. We have a relationship. And so you deal with this thing. Because these women, they get access to sex immediately. They get immediate sex from guys that are better looking, better, out of their league. It becomes something that they become accustomed to. The men don't commit. They end up wanting an actual relationship later in life. Their body count's 50, 60. The guys are like, fuck this. It's slim pickings. You get up to 28, 29. The girl's been to college. Was in a sorority. Yeah. It's a common story. Please look at the account at Do Deportations. Could make a whole video about it. Thousands of migrant people every day. Listen, I think it's terrible, and it needs to be an investigation. they're flubbing the numbers if it's true. I mean, it's horrible because we use the numbers with crime statistics, things like that. You're pretty tall, and building your chest has always been tough. It's a few things. It's genetic. Sometimes it's hard for people to build a chest genetically. Maybe your height factors in. The Punisher's body count in the new Spider-Man movie. Didn't that actor he was saying something about pit bulls, and I think pit bulls should be banned. I tweeted that out. You know, European countries have banned pit bulls. I think they should be banned. I've heard so many horror stories about pit bulls. Pit bulls, they get into a frenzy where they just bite everything they see, and even if you slap them and stuff, it makes them bite harder. It's horrible. What would you say the last true good time in American politics was? Personally, you think the 80s or the 90s? Well, I mean, Reagan winning every state, how united can the country really be? I mean, that's pretty impressive. That kind of signals to me the country was united in one direction. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. A lot of these smarter, well, I wouldn't say smarter, they're all liberal, but as European countries, they ban pit bulls. I think Ireland has banned pit bulls, or they got a push to do it. They straight up ban pit bulls. You're not allowed to have a pit bull. There's been too many attacks by pit bulls. They were bred to fight, and that's how it. And you look at a pit bull. A pit bull looks like a muscle. Like the physique of a pit bull looks like a singular muscle organism. It's like the thing from Life where they said it's a single cell organism like Kelvin, and it's like this thing is just it's they said something about all of its cells were muscles. That's like a pit bull. It's like all of its bone, it's all like muscled. You had a family friend lose a dog to one to a pit bull. I know that's why I said in a tweet they should be banned. Yeah, but I don't know if they could be trained properly to be used in a combat zone. The dog has those are bomb sniffing dogs. You're not gonna use a pit bull there. Reagan was a trash Republican. He helped push mass immigration. Yeah, I think that's short sighted. I mean, listen, I'm not saying Reagan was perfect or anything like that, but you'd have to go back to the era and the time. And listen, when Ronald Reagan had this amnesty or whatever, that's not him saying the country needs to be minority white. You know, at the time the country was like 85%, and I'm not saying it's a good thing that he did that. But it's not like people say, well, Reagan wanted this to happen. That's not really the story here. I mean, obviously it's unfortunate that happened, and then we have all this extra, but I mean, it's obvious capitalist greed. They want amnesty, they want cheap labor. That's the reason. And you know, it was done with the hope that it would stop more immigration, and obviously that hasn't happened. You know, the country's going to reach a boiling point. Maybe it has. I mean, I guess it hasn't yet, but the country is going to reach a boiling point just with it's going to go through an identity crisis, and I don't know what that results in. That could result in some pretty severe consequences. Have you seen the video of the pit bull with the horse, and the horse is just kicking it with the hooves, and the pit bull keeps coming back? And people, you know, on there's a subreddit. It says ban pit bulls. It's a subreddit. Those people are good. I've seen their videos. They tell me they say these things got to go. This is not good. And the one idiot is like not liking pit bulls is racism. Pit bulls got to be banned. Pit bulls, I've said that for a while. They got to go. You cannot trust them around other dogs or humans, or you could train them, but they still have the ability to have. It's like when you train, it's not the exact same thing. You can not domesticate, but train lions and things, but they still snap at some point. You know, they'll be perfectly fine, but they're not fully loyal to humans, like a golden retriever or something like that. Yeah, I know. That's another major problem is the asylums, 100%. In hindsight, the asylum it didn't make sense with the asylums, and it created a bunch of abandoned asylums, but pretty freaky. But no, the asylums you got to have something like that because there's nowhere to put these people. When are you gonna gym max again? I don't know. I've thought about going back to the gym. I went to the gym every day in 2021, most days in 2022, and then it started falling off. I remember exactly it started falling off in 2023. And then in the summer I just said I'm done because my YouTube channel is taken off. You know, so it's been over 3 years. It's been a little bit of time. It's been a little break, let's just say. Boomers loved Reagan because he preached communism bad while doing everything to undermine America. I mean, I don't know if I would classify it like that. Obvious, but Reagan was Boomer generation. I mean, obviously, Boomer Republicans are gonna like him just based on the time period. Will Fauci ever see jail time? No, he's protected. He's protected class. You know, Fauci already has a pardon, and then apparently they can get him on state charges, not federal, because federal charges protect from like they're under the pardon protection, but state charges are not. So his lawyers tell him, don't answer a single question. They're not going to be able to get you on anything. So they prod for an answer. I'll try and get Fauci like lying under oath or something during a previous hearing, and he just doesn't answer anything. Thoughts on Goislop epidemic? It's always existed. People just call it Goislop now. 1,000 IQ thought. No. No, I mean, stuff like, I mean, fast food, all that shit's existed, but, you know, the Israel stuff has gotten pretty mainstream, so. I mean, maybe it's worse now. I guess people are more online. They don't want to actually do stuff IRL. Trump declared to end the Iran war right now. Yeah, I mean, I would say that's breaking news. He's only said it 50 other times, so I don't know. You do not understand socialist people. It's wealth, it's insane wealth inequality pushes people to socialism. I mean, socialism is not the answer, but I understand why younger people get pushed to it. But also, a lot of this socialist stuff, they just want to reappropriate wealth from white people to minorities. That's what it is. And they cling to socialism to try and do it. Because if you look at wealth in America, it's still heavily controlled by white people. Because most of these people that come over, they work really low end jobs. But, you know, they do the socialism schnick as it's a proxy because they have ulterior racial motives. But the socialism actually, you can see right through it because they're pro immigration. It makes no sense. If you're pro immigration, your middle class is going to be weakened. How can you be socialist and pro immigration, which weakens the middle class? top income earners are all Asian. Well, that's because obviously the people from no. The vast majority I'm talking about, like coming from Latin America, they don't make anything. Yes, it is true. The Asians that come over are normally elite, they're higher level. The immigration we get from those countries, it's not going to be you're not going to get poverty ridden Asians coming over from the Pacific. It just, that just doesn't happen. I mean, it's different. It's a different class of people entirely. And there's way more coming from Mexico than there is from Asia, from the Asian countries. Another thing that they say about these Asian countries and China and what have you, these look at like San Francisco. We were talking about it earlier. San Francisco or just the West Coast, like these cities, I don't want to say that they've been like colonized by Asians. Like you look at these group photos of any important event, they have these meetups and coding and some dinner with elite capital of young people. And it's like 95% Asian. It's like, what is the point of our country exactly? Like, even now you got the West Coast with all of that. And I just, thoughts on newer stadiums, arenas being so basic? Well, I think arenas kind of have to be basic. There's only so many things you can do with arenas. But stadiums, yeah, it's unfortunate. But, stadiums, it's all capitalist. It's incentivized to build domes. And also, it's people want domes. I mean, it's just people they want to have climate controlled. Frisco invasion. I don't know, man. I will see maybe once a month these photos of like, oh, it's this big Ivy League meet or all the top schools and a bunch of kids get together, some type of national event, and you look at the kids, it's like, bro, what are we doing, man? We might as well. You got to change the name from the United States to the United World or something. I mean, it's a cap. It's just an economic zone for people to come in. What are we doing? Do we have a country? We have a cultural identity problem. It's gonna boil up to a point. How was Brand New Day? I thought Brand New Day was good. I gave it, on Letterbox, I gave it 3.5 out of 5. For me, that's good. I say 3 out of 5. It meets the expectation. It's average. It's fine. 3.5. I like it a little bit more. 4, it's really solid. 4.5, I barely give anything a 4.5. 5 is up like a perfect movie for me. What are your pro sports teams? I don't really have. I mean, I guess the Cleveland teams. When I was younger, I used to root for them a lot more than I do now. I think it sucks the Indians had their history ruined by changing their name. That really does ruin the history of the team. I was thinking about that. They ruined their history by changing to a kid's name like the Guardians. The Browns have got to find a quarterback. But they're moving into a dome themselves. You use minoxidil. I can't use any of that shit. It's a corporate flea market. It really is. Like, how sustainable is this? It's a globalist economic corporate. You want to call it whatever. Corporate flea market, globalist economic zone. I mean, we can come up with different terms for it because that's the thing is you look at even. I mean, I guess it's not surprising because it's near the Asian countries, but it's like this is all these are the important people of our country, the young important people, and it looks like the University of Beijing. If illegal immigrants take over, America will not last 100 more years. Well, my thought process is at some point there's going to be a succession. Would you date someone who said you have to get a real job? What is this, McJuggernuggets? Oh man, you got to get YouTube's not a real job. Really? I heard that a lot when I was younger. When I would watch a series. Are you pretty close to Lake Erie? Um, Lake Erie is probably 40 minutes. Browns need to know everything, including a stadium. Including a stadium, apparently. Yeah, they're building that new stadium. That's a joke. All these fans are like, yay. Yeah, the Browns are like, they're going to go into a dome now. Really? This team, it's just like, they're already bitches, and now they get to play in a dome. No, but it'll be good for Haslam. Thoughts on Michigan? I think Michigan will be pretty good this year. Michigan football? I had them in the playoff, but maybe is the final team to make it. I don't even know what that means. So no, I don't live there.
To the average American, you see Cuba, small country, 90 miles off our shores, 9.5 million people population. What people forget that when it comes to things like espionage and influence operations, they actually are an influence and espionage superpower. If you look at the history of espionage in the United States, Cuba is the only country that consistently has implanted and embedded spies in our system without even paying them. We had an ambassador, a U.S. ambassador, who ended up being a Cuban spy and was recently convicted. We've had them penetrate the highest levels of the Defense Intelligence Agency. Ana Belén Montes was one of the single biggest.
Yeah, Wizard. Columbus is like 2 hours away from me. It's not near me. Ask ChatGPT about China and cigarettes. Apparently, over 45% of men smoke cigarettes, only 11% in the U.S. Well, that's because there was a major anti-smoking investment by the United States. That's probably one of the more successful public campaigns against something health-related is smoking. But I mean, it does make sense because the smoking also affects the entire room. Like, if you're smoking cigarettes in your car is going to be fucked because the odor gets in the seats and shit. But that was a very successful campaign they had to eliminate smoking. Next life update. I mean, I have stories. I could do a life update. I have some interesting stories about the channel, honestly. Oof, I think I'm going to wait on that, though. Trump gets peace with Iran. You're joking. Yeah, we do need a public campaign against marijuana. People got to start turning against that shit again. I don't see any updates that there's any peace announcement. I see this Trump 2028 AI slop. Trump says he's canceling strikes on Iran subject to rapidly making a deal. Yeah, well, who knows? Who knows if this is real, man? I mean, how can we believe this right now? Listen, if they decide to make a deal, it's probably not going to be a great one, but that would be overall good for Republicans. It would be a little bit of a propaganda hit, but I think they would weather it within a few weeks. Yeah, I think marijuana shouldn't be. Listen, recreational. If you're going to do marijuana, it dumbs down the population. It does lower your IQ when you're high, and It does a lot of bad things, but also it can't happen in public. It's not allowed. We can't have the smell of marijuana in cities. It's just not gonna happen. It's just bad for the public, and it just makes this society look weak. Well, on Saturday night to announce it, I don't know if that really has any implication. Maybe they already bought all their stocks on Friday right before close. They'll be able to sell Monday, or I guess sell Monday after the stock market opens positive. Yeah, the market may open well if this continues, this type of news. Big government. Yeah, I mean, I guess in terms of marijuana. I don't know, man. Marijuana, you smell it in these major cities. It's just terrible. Dude, I don't know what I was smelling at the movie theater yesterday. These people had some strong ass booze. You can have, I don't even know how they sell, they have like a bar at the Cinemark. They have a bar. This woman is like fucking, I don't know what she was drinking. I could smell it constantly. Smelled like some type of concoction, some type of cocktail or something. It's like, lady, it's like 9 o'clock. Put it away. You're in a fucking movie. Here in NYC, it reeks of pot, just stinks. Dude, NYC is a fucking mess, man. I mean, NYC is beautiful, don't get me wrong. But I don't think they can clean that city up. It's almost to the point, and I'm not going to say this in like, I don't want to compare it, but you look at New Delhi, they physically, and it's like Cairo, Egypt. They had to make a new capital. When a city reaches a certain population, you physically cannot maintain any order within the city or any parameters. There's simply too many people. It's what happened to Cairo, Egypt. It's what happened to New Delhi, India. They can't maintain any hygiene. They would have to remove people from the city. There's too many people. Now, I don't know if New York City is that bad, but I do think they probably have an issue where, number one, it's always going to be a liberal government. So they're not going to want to, intrude on any of this type of activity and run a police state, which honestly you would need to do. I feel like with that high of a population, you're going to need to do some type of intervention. Because remember, the last mayor of New York City was Eric Adams, and he's a Democrat, but he's seen more of a hard ass. He's seen as more of a hard ass. Now they got Mamdani in. I mean, I don't know what his stances are, but he's probably pro-criminal. Huh. Well, she's not going to read it, but you were feeling down, but you saw I was streaming, and your spirits were immediately lifted. It's amazing. Have you ever wanted a Democrat to win any sort of election? And is it true that Democrats are taking over Texas? Well, they said Democrats were taking over Texas in 2018. I don't think Democrats are taking over Texas yet, but I'm concerned because the state has seen an influx of liberals. Weed makes you lazy? Yeah, 100%. Weed is not, it's not a good stimulant. It smells horrible. It makes you late. Maybe it helps some people medically. But it's transition now. It's more recreational. NYC is gone. It's only going to get worse. Yeah, that's the problem. That's the thing. It's like New Delhi. There's just too many people. There's too many people and too much liberal leadership. The problem is the more people you bring in, the more liberal it gets. So it's a double bad. You need a conservative to come in and say, there's too many people here, and we need a massive police presence, and we have to start policing these people in a way that is extremely strict to try and clean the cities up from a literal sense. People say there's shit on the ground in New York City. You want to clean all of that up. I mean, there's beautiful skyscrapers, beautiful buildings, but you can't preserve it. The population of New York City has been replaced in a literal sense. If you look at the demographic changes from the 1950s, 1960s until now. You're surprised by how red Texas still is. It's a miracle, honestly, dude. There are a lot of Hispanics that vote red in Texas. That's why. Like, that's the other thing. Because think about it. This is how you know the United States has gotten farther to the left than to the right. Think about the electorate and how people talk about demographics and Republicans having to placate to blacks or Mexicans or whatever. Like, those voting blocks are inherently Democrat. So their populations getting bigger and bigger and bigger will only cause the overall shape of the scope of the country to shift to the left by bringing in more and more. That's why I always hated they talk about demographics. It's like, imagine the demographics that Republicans would need to win in the 1980s, like Reagan, relative to now, in terms of the population. Because it's always like, well, if you want to win Mexicans or blacks, you have to give up X, Y, and Z to be able to win them for Republicans. And it's like, well, they've changed the game with these demographics, and the country, Republicans have to shift to the left to a degree on certain topics or certain issues, because otherwise you're not going to have the electorate. The electorate is too minority driven. You went to a coin show? Oh, that's interesting, man. Yeah, that's cool to find historical things like that. I used to look for stuff like that as well online. Also, you think a lot of people moving to Texas are not diehard liberals? Well, I'd have to look at the states that they're moving from. I mean, evidently they can't be diehard liberals because, but then the thing with Texas is they have a bigger population, so they can absorb people and stay conservative. You know, it's harder to swing them versus a state like Colorado. Wizard, you stay in an apartment. Do you stay in like a high rise building? I mean, when you're in NYC, I'm guessing it's all just like what is the housing situation? It's just like all high rises. You got to be on like the 23rd floor or some shit. Yeah, I don't know if Texas. I mean, at some point, it's like Texas will probably swing, but you never want to make the prediction of it because you'd like to see it stay conservative. It's like Georgia, you know, Georgia was conservative, conservative, and then at a certain point, the barrier breaks, the dam erodes. You're on the 32nd floor. Damn. From the coin is from 1936. That's the other thing. It's like, if you just look at the history of the United States, I mean, the presidents of the past, the liberal presidents of the past, where they would be today, that shows you how liberal the country's gotten. They like to compare us to Europe, and that's another thing that, and it's almost like this is an interesting thing when you look at these European countries. It is surprising how the growth of a lot of these European countries, which, let's be honest, they're like 90% white, has been slowed significantly. And you wonder how much that has to do with how liberal they are. But it's like, yeah, it's interesting. A lot of these European countries, they're not really, and I get for Europe, it's different because in America, we really do have an insane power keg. Like, if we were Europe, every state would be its own country. But we have all of them together. It is insane. And also, we have a much better, I would say, environment in terms of like weather, but than Europe does. But I don't know. It's like a lot of these European countries really aren't growing. Like, they're not getting more powerful. You really like your place because you're well removed up here. Yeah, that's nice. That is nice. I never lived in anything like that with the only times I've stayed in like high rises hotels. But living in, I mean, you get used to it pretty quickly. Humans get used to things quickly. But I mean, if you're in NYC, everything's got to be. If you're not living in a high rise, you're paying fucking millions of dollars. I mean, I'll tell you that. You can't really, because you're in like a penthouse or some shit, or a townhome. What's a townhome in NYC cost? They want to build so many high rises in NYC. Like they build that pencil skyscraper right up against Central Park. They want to utilize, the builders want to utilize all that land to its fullest extent. Give me a part. Imagine what would a parcel of Central Park cost? I wonder. Real estate. Thoughts on the growth of the DSA? Do you think they might actually gain traction? I don't think they'll gain traction to any high degree. I mean, think about it. Even if the DSA rises, and I do understand, especially now with where we're at in terms of capitalism, the growth disparity, it's going to continue to get worse for people just because in a capitalist society, it's so easy to compound wealth. So if it continues to get worse, maybe it rises a little bit, the DSA. But, you know, you're talking about like a split Democratic Party or something like that. I mean, I don't know if maybe the establishment would just give in to the DSA, but I mean, ideally, the DSA rises, it opens the door for a further right wing movement. So you have that idea, and we'll see if that ends up happening if the DSA gets bigger. But right now, it's like you're potentially splitting the Democratic Party, and a lot of these Democrats, these leaders within their party, they're not going to support the DSA. So for the DSA, it's going to be hard for them to win any competitive race. They're just not going to get the support. Now they can win like enclaves in like uber liberal areas with a bunch of like 20-year-old liberal girls voting for them. But winning the governorship in Wisconsin, yeah, I don't know about that one. Winning a Senate seat in Michigan, yeah, you kind of fucked yourself. And their establishment knows that. I don't think their establishment is going to support these DSA people. The View is really the next level. Also, the penthouses are also like 18K a month. Yeah, post a photo. Post a photo of your view on my Discord. 18K a month. Well, a lot of the penthouses, it was really the townhomes if you want to be on the floor, but on street level. Yeah, the penthouses are normally in the top. And then there's like a pool on the top. They say the best way to build in major cities is it's a square and the center is a giant courtyard that's only accessible to the people. I don't know. I've always thought courtyards were kind of like bad design just because when you're outside and you're enclosed, because, you know, a courtyard design like that, you're enclosed from all sides because it's the building. The buildings. That's why I don't really like courtyards that much, but I've heard that's the best way to design housing is you have a central courtyard. The Bronx is the hood. Their average home is just over 500K. It's just location based. How close it is to everything. Yeah. The real estate there is just. And I don't even know how you would even get legitimate good public housing. Like if I actually wanted to have a place to stay in NYC that would be to my satisfactory level, It'd probably be 3,500, maybe 4,000. I don't even know if I could do that. I mean, I don't even look at NYC because I'm not going there, but could you live in NYC? No. Democrats are saying Fetterman. Yeah, but Fetterman votes with liberals like 90% of the time. Fetterman is just, I don't even know. I mean, he says stuff that's more favorable to Republicans, but you live in a Korean town, Los Angeles, in a duplex built in the 1920s, worst parking in West Coast. It was built in the 1920s. Jeez. I'm sure they had to have renovated it. Those old buildings, man, it's tough. That's why when I look at these apartments, I look for like the outer edges of the cities because that's when the new ones go up. You move into like a new townhome, I think it'd be better. The thing with the new townhomes, like when I look at architecture, all of it obviously is that tan color, the white color, hardwood floors. And I for my house, I don't think I would like that. For an apartment, I guess it's okay because it's better than like a dungeon, but or even a townhome, it's better to have the light colors. But I think I would much rather want a. I'd rather probably want a darker color in my house. You have to be a social person to live in NYC. It's not even necessarily about social, but I agree with you on that. But even on top of that, it's like it's hard to, I feel like, find your footing in NYC because you're just on top of everyone. So you can't spread out. There's no ability to spread out in NYC. There's just constantly people, you know? So it's a lifestyle, but that's just something that I would like to spread out basically. Or you want to have like a peacefulness to your home or even just like townhome or whatever. How do you join the Discord? You got to get a link. Somebody's got to give you a link. Hopefully someone in the chat or you know what, there's probably a link on my community posts. Funny thing about Fetterman is liberals loathe him. Yeah, he always goes on talk shows and badmouth liberals. I know that, but he still votes with them like 90% of the time. But he does constantly do that. Thank you, Mr. Creeper. Thank you. Yeah, so that's the Discord link. You got to join that. We've had some conversations on Discord recently, but it's been a bit quieter there. Oh yeah, this is what I wanted to see, the governor's mansions. Like that's crazy. That's in Alaska. I don't know. I like that. That's like an old Victorian. Makes you mad when people talk about the U.S. dying because the U.S. is still the best country in the world. Yeah, I mean, the U.S. is definitely the most powerful country in the world. Per capita, I think the U.S. presents the best opportunity relative to outcome. There's a lot of ways to look at it. You could say PPP, maybe not so much, versus GDP, but overall output, overall opportunity, volume, I think the US is number one. Technically, life quality. Obviously, there's going to be countries that overall have better life quality because the population's way less. I mean, that's just, you can't really compete with those countries. How was the Spidey movie? I give it a 3.5 out of 5 on my letterbox. I thought it was pretty good. I say it's better than slightly better than expectations. Is there a chance GOP wins midterms? Um, yeah, there's definitely a chance. I mean, wins midterms. I think they're gonna win the Senate. But if you're talking about the House and the Senate and do well in the governor's races, I mean, there's like a 35% chance maybe. Now, Tom Holland can't be 5'5". Tom Holland can't be 5'5". You see him on the screen, you know he's not 5'5". I can tell when a person is 5'5". You look at him, even on a screen, I can tell. Did you sit next to anyone? Yeah, I sat next to my friend. What are the Dems running on socialism? Some of the candidates are for sure running on socialism. Most of them though are neutered to not do that. But there are a few DSA candidates that I think are going to blow some important elections for them. You're watching the new Spider-Man movie at home? Won't let you post pictures of the view? Ugh. That's because we have these weird ass Discord settings and stuff. We got to talk to someone about that. People complain that you can't post photos. I don't really understand what's the actual mechanism preventing photos from being posted on Discord. I posted a photo. It was a screenshot today of the weather. I don't know if some people have privileges and others don't. You might have to be anointed a privilege or something. It's a caste system. I'm kidding. But I don't know what it is. What is the Spain situation? They got to invoke Article 5. It's an invasion. If Dems take over both House and Senate, what happens? Does the Iran war end? Well, they might try and pass a war powers resolution or something to limit Trump's power in the Iran war. I don't know what would happen. They would neuter his power for sure. Post it in the media channel. You got to post it in the media channel. Discord moderation is AI now. Yeah, well, Discord has had a few problems with stuff, and they probably are trying to take it seriously now. Their moderation. You're trying now and it's not working. Yeah, I think because you have to be elevated to a certain. When you join, like, you have to be anointed or something. I'm not kidding. There's something like that, I think. I don't know exactly what it is. I would have to look into it. I'm not a Discord connoisseur. That's the problem. You have to have the union member tag to post images. Yeah, you have to have some. You have maybe it's something like that. You got to be anointed. You think the GOP is going to get slaughtered in the midterms? I don't think so. I think it'll be messy, but it'll be both sides. And I mean, 2022, everyone thought the Dems would get slaughtered. Biden's approval rating was 38%. So I don't know. They kind of hung on. And that's the inverse of what could happen in 26. Two years of nothing but impeachment hearings. Yeah. Impeachment hearings over and over again for Trump if that happens. Well, she'll read this one. Thank you for that donation. I appreciate it, man. Seriously. This is the thing I streamed later and I got more donations. It's like you need to. Oh, I think it cut off. If Kamala won, what do you think things would look like right now? Economy, geopolitics, immigration. Well, I think I do think Iran would be handled differently. I know people say Israel controls it no matter what. I think they would handle it differently. Because think about it, Obama did a nuclear deal with them. So I think liberals would have handled Iran differently. I think they would have given everyone amnesty, or it would have been some type of compromise. See, if Kamala would have won somehow, I think Dems would have known deep down they would have been fucked in the 2026 midterms because they were already really unlikable going into 2024, the election. And you know how it is. If they were the incumbent party going into the midterms, they would struggle. My guess is they give lip service to the deporting illegals, but they only look for the like insane criminals. Maybe it's like 10,000, 15,000 people. They do some form of border enforcement. I mean, Biden was doing border enforcement towards the end of 2023, 2024 because they knew they had to placate. So I think they placate, but they give amnesty to the vast majority of illegals. And they said they were going to do that. I believe that's what her campaign said. But they would have tried to swing it as, well, the border is secure once again, or there's not as many illegals. Because technically Biden did, limit the illegals by 2024 because they were going to lose the election and it was becoming a liability. But yeah, the immigration, there's no way it's net negative. It's, obviously, but they wouldn't want it to be. They run on more immigration. That's what the party wants. So obviously, if the Democrats won in 24, they would be emboldened with immigration and amnesty. But I think they would have handled Iran differently. I don't agree with the people that say, well, it's Israel controls the United States and they would have Kamala Harris going to war with. But why didn't Obama? I think they would have pushed for a nuclear deal. The Democrats would have. Maybe I'm naive. Remember Biden got 81 million. No, those numbers are, I mean, Biden did get an insane amount of votes, yes. Kamala would be worse than Biden. She's just an extension of Biden, and I don't think she really would control anything either. Like, Biden didn't control anything. You think Biden's making any major decisions? They have an entire establishment of people that makes decisions within the Democrats. I don't think I don't think Biden was making any major key decision, and honestly, he shouldn't with his health and his cognitive decline. He shouldn't have made any major decisions. You can't be that old and that senile and make major decisions, and even be, they were reporting that Biden would go to sleep at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The guy, he was running the country, and he should have been in a retirement home. So how much, and they had to use an auto pen. Like, think about that. I mean, those are some pretty big signatures when you're signing pardons and executive orders. And I think they knew that Biden physically could not do it. Like, he had to get sleep, and it's just like, we need these things signed. He can't do it. We got to use an auto pen. They're pretty big signatures, but I think that's how bad it was with Biden and his deterioration. Dems would bring in more illegals. Eventually they would. But I think they play lip service to it. I think they'd get crushed in 2026 if Harris would have won. Obviously, I'm glad Harris didn't win, but I think they would get annihilated. And that's just kind of how U.S. politics is, though. Like, that's why Republicans are trying to hang on in 26, because technically this is the pendulum is supposed to swing back. Republicans have had both chambers. Holding both is a challenge. I think they would have had a better chance without this Iran war, but do you think crypto will come back? There's a lot of higher capital layer ones that they're not going to come back. I mean, Bitcoin will come back, Solana will come back, Ethereum maybe will come back. Newer layer ones, new technology will do well. Older layer ones, a lot of these assets are just dead. They're just gone. And they have like $2 billion market caps, but it's just dead money. It's just, It's just floating in interstellar space. It's like look at Cardano, look at Avalanche, look at Chainlink. Oh man, that's a big donation. Hope I think she'll read this one. Sometimes she gets cut off. I don't know why. Oh my god, she got cut off again. One of my lib friends keeps claiming Trump has dementia, just like Biden. Am I crazy for, or just being partisan, thinking Trump is completely on his game? I mean, the guy never sleeps, multitasks like nobody else. Yeah, no, Trump and Biden are not even close to comparable. I mean, even in a single day, Trump will answer more questions from the press than Biden did throughout like a year's worth of his presidency. It's not even close. When they say that, they are being biased. Like, you can say a lot of things about Trump, and I guess obviously he's aged since like 10 years ago, but he doesn't have dementia. It's ridiculous. Like, even comparing his speech from now versus 5 years ago, maybe it's a little bit worse, but it's not dementia level. It's not Biden level. Scooble just went to the Dodgers. You're joking. You got to be trolling. He writes long paragraphs. He needs to cut up the paragraphs. No, it's legit. Oh man, why would the Tigers do that? I mean, dude, it doesn't even make sense to do that. Trade him to another team. Trade him to another team. The Tigers farm system produces busts. Or the Dodgers farm system produces busts, especially when they trade players from their farm. Tarek Skubal. Yeah, Tarek Skubal's a damn good pitcher. That's not good that he went to the Dodgers for baseball. There's going to be a major lockout for baseball, let's just say. Yeah, the Dodgers, they actually are kind of cheaters. They pay Otani $2 million a year. That shouldn't be a legal contract. That's actually an illegal contract. You can't pay Otani $2 million per year against the cap. Oh, they got that 30-year-old prospect, River Ryan. Ugh. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't have traded with the Dodgers. But the Dodgers got like 7 top 50 prospects, they say. Okay. Yeah, the lockout's going to have to happen for a while. Yeah, I'm excited for the lockout, I think. I'm sick of hearing about these players, and it's just like they all want to go to the Dodgers anyways. Fuck them. But now the propaganda is they're gonna force us to like be on the player side. And honestly, I'm always on the ownership side because I'm an asshole. I'm kidding. No, I'm on neither of their sides. Is there any hope for the dating world improving over the next 20 years? Yeah, no, the dating market's going to get better for men, but the problem is we need the market to get better ASAP. I don't know if that's going to happen. In 10 years, the market has to get better. It reaches a high point, and then it has to get better. It can't get any worse than this. But a lot of these women are going to get old. They're going to be lonely. And I don't think that's going to be good for them or the men. But I think the market's going to have to get better for men in the next 10, 15 years. Yeah, the Yankees should have got Scooble. You got to go out. You got to trade a top. Well, maybe they would have had to trade. The Yankees don't have a deep farm system as deep. I mean, they have one really good prospect, but I don't think they wanted to trade him for Scooble because Scooble's a rental. Have you seen Max Clark? Yeah, Max Clark, the Tigers prospect. Yeah. I mean, I know he just got called up. You're fatigued with pro sports except for MLB and the Dodgers. Well, yeah, the Dodgers are winning everything. I can understand if you're a Dodgers fan. What do you think will happen in 2028? Who will be the nominees and who will win the presidential election? Well, if MLB wants a salary cap, there's going to be a year long lockout. They're going to miss the entire season because players are not going to go for it. They're going to use the historical precedent of there never being a cap. It's going to get very ugly. Which, you know what? If that has to happen, it has to happen. I mean, if the Dodgers three-peat with Skubal going 8 innings, I mean, technically Skubal was a trade, but still.
At custard_mustard_5000 tip $19.99 through Super Chat.
Wow. You didn't add a message. I appreciate that, man. No, this is the thing. I work overtime. I work overtime. I get compensated for it. I get like 50 extra bucks, honestly, for an extra hour. When you work overtime, you get a pay raise, and Trump says no tax on overtime. I declare this overtime. No athletes should be paid hundreds of millions of dollars. Well, let's be clear. We are more capitalist, but it's controlled capitalism that we like. But people should have the ability to earn relative to their market. The market dictates a certain thing. But again, I think that it becomes a problem like with NIL in college. It's called controlled capitalism. People can make a lot of money, but at a certain point, there's problems in terms of competitive balance. But also with MLB, I mean, the thing is, I think it's the most obvious thing ever. You put in a salary cap floor, you put in a salary floor, you put in a salary cap. The floor forces the cheap owners to spend more. The cap restores some form of competitive balance. So wouldn't that something that would be negotiated? They would solve it. They would sign the next collective bargaining agreement. It's done. But these players, they want the floor, but they say there's no cap. They say, we're not doing a cap. You do a cap, we're going to sit out the season. The players can't afford to sit out the season. They're going to have to come to some agreement. Favorite part of Spider-Man? I mean, the fight with the Hulk was a pretty nice scene. MLB players are spoiled and babied. It's a joke. $200 million pitchers. Dude, the pitchers, they barely throw 4 innings, and then these beta male fans defend them. I mean, listen, these pitchers, they're going to have to make a decision. These fans, it's like, okay, these pitchers want to throw 300 miles per hour. Yeah, you're not going to be able to sustain that. So you need to throw softer, or you're going to be constantly injured. I mean, it's like there's two things you can do here. We want pitchers to go deeper into games, but they can't throw 300 miles per hour. It's like the Miz kid, Jacob Mizratsky or whatever, on the Brewers. Yeah, okay, the kid throws 102 miles per hour. He only goes 5 innings. Like, dude, you go like 4 innings at start. You're literally a starter. You pitch like 5 innings. You think you're like this ace? You're like a reliever. You go 4 innings, like 70 pitches. You're done. Really? Maybe throw 97 instead of 102. You'll go deeper. But they can't do that. They have to throw 102 miles per hour. Then they rigged the radar guns to make things seem faster now. These fans, dude, they just cope. I see these fans on Reddit. They're like, these players are so much better. The players are hitting like 205. They're like, oh, he's a good hitter. I swear, like, there'll be players that hit like 207 and they're like, ooh, he's actually a good hitter. It's like, dude, just stop. Just stop. And their OPS is like 695 and they're like, oh, he's still a good hitter. Okay, man. I swear these guys will be batting like 120. They'll be batting like 178 and they'll be like, he's actually a good hitter for the catcher position. Yeah. All right, man. Like, remember Mike Trout leading out the All-Star game? He's hitting like 227. They're like, well, at least he has an 800 on OPS. Dude, he's hitting like 220. This is a joke. Like, can you at least hit like 275 or 260? Is it really that big of a challenge? Or do you have to try and hit a home run every time you hit? That's what my coaches, they said, stop trying to hit a home run. They don't tell MLB players that. That's why they're all hitting 200. These players like hit 220. They're like, ooh, he's a good hitter. Bring back Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is a beast. Think about Aaron Judge. I guess Yordan Alvarez is also a beast. Aaron Judge can hit 300. That's something that's really rare now. Luis Ariz, he can at least hit 320. You like the good old-fashioned batting average sometimes. You can appreciate it. Yeah, Cal Raleigh never should have won MVP, and he's showing why now. He's horrible. Dude, Cal Raleigh is hitting 162 or something, like, and he blames the World Baseball Classic for it. He's like, well, I don't want to blame the World Baseball Classic, but it took a toll on me. It took a toll on me for the worst. Yeah, they're gonna have to really. If the Dodgers win the World Series, they're going to have to go ahead and they're gonna have to go ahead and have a lockout for a year. They're gonna have to have the year-long lockout and miss the entire season. Mike Trout. Yeah, Mike Trout he's becoming washed. Just because he has an 800 OPS, it really doesn't mean he's elite. You look at his stats. If he's batting 220 with 230. I mean, I liked Mike Trout when he was hitting like when he had like a 960 OPS. He was hitting three. I mean, he's still a good player, I guess, but he's really fixating on the home run or strikeout. And when you do that, you tend to hit like 230. So if you're hitting 230, it's kind of hard for me to call you a good hitter. You got to at least give me 250, 255 batting average. The OPS being 800, it's like, dude, you hit like one home run out of every 20 at-bats, your OPS is 800. It's really not that impressive. You got to at least have like a 260 average. No, Acuna Jr. is not the best player. Acuna Jr. is not doing too well this year. You went to a restaurant yesterday and it burned down overnight. Where you were sitting yesterday has collapsed. Well, that's pretty insane. Yeah, that's an interesting feeling. You remember when people called Trout the next Mickey Mantle? Dude, they still try and hype him. They still try and hype him because these fans are cucks for players today. They defend him at all costs. It's like Trout obviously has injuries. He can't do it. He doesn't want to go to a team that makes the playoffs. He's not Mickey Mantle. Let's stop. And they're like, well, technically, his WAR. It's like, dude, look at his fucking. Even his average OPS is probably less. Actually, I think it's better than Mantle's, to be fair. Because Trout was insanely good. But yeah, if Trout's not going to do anything in the playoffs, I mean, come on, dude. And then they say, well, he's on the Angels. Yeah, he wants to be on the Angels. He doesn't demand a trade. He signed an extension. 24-hour stream, dude. I don't know what I'd be talking about. I'm literally talking about. Did you see the WNBA players? The WNBA is a horribly run league. It's the most obvious thing ever. The league shouldn't exist. It's subsidized by the NBA to a ridiculous degree. it doesn't make any money. They have star players, but when the star players are white, they don't support them. It's just a horribly run league. Horrible. "24-hour filibuster," yeah. No, that's Cory Booker. I may have to give credit to Cory Booker if he actually talked for 24 hours straight. Remember that one time he did that? Because it is taxing, man. You gotta take like a 5-hour energy or something. WMV, their fan base is pathetic. Yeah, they try and cope about the league and the ratings and stuff. It's all Caitlin Clark anyways. But the ratings are terrible from what I hear. Remember when Trump was asked about LeBron and Trump was like, maybe he's a racist, maybe he doesn't like Trump. What was he even talking about? He's like, and LeBron, maybe he's a racist, maybe he doesn't like Trump. I like people that like me. Oh, that's a good answer. All right, guys, I'm going to sleep because it's midnight here. I'll see you guys later. I'll see you guys in another stream. Like the stream down below. I didn't watch SummerSlam. Pull Ted Cruz and read Green Eggs and Ham 24 hours. Slogan, thank you. All right, guys. Peace.